Hey guys, welcome to the close. Couple hours left in the trading session. Heck, a couple hours left in the entire month and the entire quarter. What a day we've had. Back and forth we go once again. A lot of chop to deal with today on individual names and on the overall market. Here's a look at how things are shaping up as we head into the final couple hours. As I mentioned here, 0.35 for the S&P, about 0.5% for the Dow to the downside, 0.4 for the NASDAQ there. Red numbers, top to bottom. Yeah, crude sliding once again, 5% once again for crude oil in negative territory. It's been a red day for cryptocurrencies, both Bitcoin and Ethereum, back to the downside about 3%. Pretty good week, though, still for both. Here's a look at the big board. Here's what you need to know anyways this afternoon. Cruise lines, we didn't really get to them this morning at all, but the CDC lifted its warnings against taking cruise lines. I also saw a story that said a cruise that was 100% vaccinated, so everyone that was on the cruise was 100% vaccinated, had a large breakout on it. So there's that. Travel names moving around a little bit, though. Anyways, HPQ, AMD, we're going to talk about some chip stocks down there. 7.8% to the downside. Nvidia is not much better, falling and falling fast. INTC also in the red here. Industrials under pressure this afternoon. To the upside, material stocks, CF, Mosaic, both higher. Some of the energy names having a pretty good day as well. Utilities as well, back in positive territory. Overall, though, 0.4 right now for the S&P. Here's a look at the NASDAQ. Yeah, China to the downside again. PDD and Baidu here standing out 7+% for both. We'll talk about why coming up. There's AMD. We mentioned Booking.com, travel name higher. WBA off earnings to the downside as well. It's software names, and that's about it in positive territory. But as I mentioned, kind of a back and forth type of day, depending on what you're looking at this morning. Pretty tough day as well. A lot of people sitting on their hands, I think, as we head towards the non-farm payrolls coming up tomorrow morning. Make sure you're here with us tomorrow at 8:30. We'll talk you through that, give you a look at the overall market. Welcome. Hope all is well as we end off the first quarter of the year with not really a bang, kind of a whimper, I guess, for the overall markets. We're going to get into a bit of a review, talk about what we looked at this morning coming out of the gate, including Neil is with us. He's going to walk you through one of his trades.
Thank you very much. We're going to talk about Mullen today for our trade analysis of the day. And this is one where you don't often pull up a stock like Mullen and look at a 60-minute chart. So I'm kind of happy to be able to do this. Like, we always start with the higher time frame. And the first thing you're going to notice is, okay, you get a great run to the upside. And let's break this down for a little bit. You're going to get your favorite, or some people's favorite number when this thing broke out from $2. You get this nice top here at $4.20. Of course you do. And you pull right back in. You find a hard rejection. That's the first thing. You ran away from that price. Oddly enough, 1/3 of 420 is 280. And that's exactly where this bounces off of twice, right? So we file that price away, this 280 level. A couple of times we're bouncing off of it. You actually find some support. Then you run away from it in the other direction. That's the context we're going to come into, right? And on top of that, when it bounced in yesterday's action late in the day, you found a bit of a bid at the same price, 280, just 285 just in front of that 280 level. So coming into the session, Mullen going to look at one level and one level only. And it's really just about that 280 as support. In the open, we actually get a plunge back in, and we're going to hold $3. Okay, wanted to start a position at 3, wanted to give it down into 280. But the reality is, when we're trading off of this 2, we're going to have a relatively tight stop. We're playing that opening range type of trade. It gives you a couple of fills up here, and you start going parabolic. We're pretty happy with it, but at no point were we all in because we didn't get down to 280. But we did start the level at 280, and then you get this pop. We take most of it out in front of 325, and then it gets to 350. Now, I'm happy with the fact that we're in the long part of this trade. But if you come back and look at that lower high at 350, once you get to this lower high, the place you anticipate there might be a turn, and you put a wick top like this, that's usually a short trade. You get the consolidation lower, it's like enter into the short. But we're long biased in Mullen, thinking only about that long in front of that support level. So instead of jumping into a short trade and riding it down to 280, essentially just sit it out the entire time, stare at a blank thing all day long and wait for it to get down to support. Now, do we eventually get filled at 85 in front? Sure you do, and then you grab a long trade back up to VWAP. Truth of the matter is, there's always more than one way to trade off of key levels. You're able to find that support, and you can patiently wait to grab those bids in front of it, or you can simply use what was an obvious short entry, I didn't have it here, and then ride that short down into the support. It doesn't really make a difference. You can go long, you can go short. The key is there a catalyst? Is there a reason to be in the trade? Mullen's doing a ton of volume. Are there levels that you can play off of? And in this particular case, there were obvious support at 280. The lower high was at that 350, so you could anticipate there might have been a turn there. I'm still going to be a little bit disappointed with myself for not thinking more about that short. When you have one of those wick tops, it's the kind of thing where it happens so fast, unless you are thinking go short, you're unlikely to be able to get that trade in because it just whips up, picks you up, and then goes right back in. Usually that consolidation is a little bit tighter to the top. You likely want to get 33, 34, 35, somewhere in here, but that's only happening if you're staring at it and looking for that price. Unfortunately, I was not. I was simply waiting for those longs off the bottom. If it wants to break out from here at about 305 to 312 and take out VWAP, I'd be considering taking it out in this cluster, that lower high, 25, 30, 33. Whenever you have a flush down where it's a liquidity event, the first place where liquidity comes in, that's where buyers and sellers could kind of figure things out off that 350 failure. We get back up there, I think you're taking out the long and starting to think about flipping that short all the way up to 350. Missed out on the short, but good support level to be able to grab those longs on Mullen. Sometimes it doesn't follow through. So you have to be patient and only go long at the good prices because it wasn't really that much of a runner. Only profitable if you went long in front of support.
Yeah, tough to find anything really with a directional bias unless it's to the downside. And we'll talk about some tech stocks coming up here. But yeah, Mullen on the watch list this morning, guys. Still very impressive volume once again today for MULN. That is the link you need if you are looking for a free resource in the pre-market. We send it out every single morning for free, if I didn't mention that. Microsoft, wanted to mention here as we get things going into the afternoon here. Microsoft trying to get back to day lows, back to this 311 area, 0.9% downside. They came out and said, yeah, they're going to, or they should anyways, review this Activision deal, the FTC coming out saying that, guys. So a bit of a move to the downside there initially this morning anyways for Microsoft.
Microsoft. Okay, yeah, I was looking at my, hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to the afternoon show here. We'll put on some good trades, hopefully for you, and discuss what's happening in the market, which right now, nat gas going downside, everything seems to be moving here. Oil now down that 6%. Microsoft this morning, yeah, I didn't even really figure about any news here, but we were long, and we actually hit it. Microsoft's going to be my #1 net stock today, and all we really did was let this thing fall down, find some key levels. We've written down 311, 312 before in the past, and yeah, man, that held. Look at yesterday's bottom right here, 311.50. So, you know, that's what we were doing, hit the longs, and then boom to the upside. No outs, lower than our ins. So yeah, pretty good trade here. 311, I mean, it's right here right now. We could probably make it again off of these 310 bottoms, but 311 here, best out 312.78. So that's like $1.50 right there. We wound up holding. Good trade, scalped in and out, didn't hold for the very top there of 313. But if you look at Microsoft, it's held up pretty good, man. It's now you're going to find other names that obviously are above the 50 period moving average, but as far as high quality, you know, big cap names, Microsoft is a name that I really like, and it's why, you know, when you get diversification in your portfolio, I believe in it. Obviously, I hold over like 30, 25, 30 names, so it's well diversified, but I want to always buy more of the big guy here, and Microsoft, Apple, even Nvidia, I want to get my hands on more, even some Meta. But there it is, a nice move back up off these 275 bottoms. I still believe in Microsoft. If we get back into this 295 area, I think we probably buy some more. But let's wait to see Microsoft just getting going here. I feel like a take of this 316, and then we probably head back to highs. I mean, we're not too far down. Like, you might think, oh my God, this market, right? But Microsoft, even from its very high, you're only down 10% right now. So a nice recovery back from the bottoms, above the 200, above the 50 period. I like Softy.
You know what? This is actually a really good point.
AMD, though.
Microsoft chart. We talked about golden crosses and death crosses, and I understand like what the overall sentiment means of those. And I'm not railing against, like, historically people say, and it's probably true that, you know, overall they are fantastic indicators. But this is a perfect example of why these indicators are not some kind of gospel, because, you know, you did have that death cross on Microsoft, but what happened since then? It almost to the level, to the day, and not quite, like maybe a day after that, it made this bottom. A day after its death cross. And then you broke the 50 and then the 200 period within a week. And maybe you're pulling back in here, but it's a perfect example that these things aren't set it and forget it, it'll win 100% of the time. I'm not saying it's not something to look at, but I love being able to show an example, not just of, oh, here's a golden cross and the stock goes up, death cross and it goes down. This is the opposite case. And I'm sort of echoing everything else Sean would have said there, so that I'm just happy to point that one out in the higher time frame. The market trending towards that bottom. If it can bounce here, it's probably going to need a little help from your friend there, Sean, Mr. Softy, holding this low as well. If we're going to hold or get back above 15,000, we're not doing it without Microsoft sort of clawing its way back to VWAP.
All right, we're going to talk about chip makers because they remain weak. I just got a annoying email, I guess, for Miss Danielle Shea. Apparently is staring at a blue screen of death right now on her computer. So that sucks. If she's supposed to come by in about a half an hour or so, but she's having some computer issues. So if anyone is in Texas and can help out Miss Shea with the blue screen of death, guys, unfortunately, hopefully she can figure something out. Nvidia, first up, or it was AMD with the downgrade, but I wanted to mention Nvidia because it's big time relative strength here today, trying to hold in positive territory as we speak. But I mean, nothing really to see here. AMD, on the other hand, on the downgrade today, continues to slide.
Yeah, we are just like absolutely, and you wanted this. What's up, ASMR? What's up, everybody there? You wanted my first words to be bang. So there we go, bang right now. $1 in the money right here with AMD. We're absolutely cooking today on these names, man. Nvidia's been hot fire. AMD, we got off of it early. We noticed that obviously it was pretty negative, but we're able to make money. It kept going to the downside. We're like, we're not going to chase this anymore. And then till we waited for a nice little bump up. We got a few shorts in here, got taken out there, and then we shorted once we found that high of 1024, back down, boom, boom, boom. It actually just touched the day's low down there. Probably should have taken that, but again, we don't mind holding to see what's going to happen with the NASDAQ, and I like to be short this name. It's down 8%, a big move down, 70 cents in the money. I mean, right now on that one, we'll take it. And then really the bigger trades for me here were on Nvidia. When you see, a couple good shorts in here, back up near 278, 278.50 to the downside, out at 276. Like, these are all dollars worth of winners. So good one. We went long as well. Like, look at these Nvidia longs, 280 out, 281. Hit it again, 279.75. Out, our best one, 281.50. That's another $1.50 on the way up. Hit this here, and look what happens when we're wrong, guys. Like, we go long here, same reload, right? Look at this. In here, 279.70. Out on the way up. That's $1.50 right there. Take it again, 279.60, out on a 50 break. So that's like another 20 cents worth of a hit. And then we're like, nah, we're going to go short. Short here, boom. Short here, down. Short here, boom, 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 all the way down. So we'll wait to look about another short. I think Nvidia is going to be a long, so I don't think we'll short this. That's why we are short right now on AMD. But, both these names not really working today, and if so, working in opposite ways. Nvidia flat on the day, and then your boys got AMD short, and that's been a tank city, down 8%. Just kept on bleeding the whole time. But I'm thinking about getting out right now. We are touching up on this 50 period, so that's been a little area of concern, possibly another short situation into that. But I'm going to try to get out here if we take out 110. So I'm trying to give this one a little bit more room. We just had $1, like we were short here, 110.12. It went down to 109 flat. So we had $1.10 in the money, now only 65 cents. Let's see if we can get some money back.
Yeah, and we talk about trading the right ones all the time. for the chip weakness. Nvidia, well, I mean, AMD was a downgrade, so I guess that should have been obvious to me, which it wasn't because I traded Micron, and then Nvidia as well. Nvidia hasn't gotten to 272, and we talked about this morning. If it gets down to that price in the afternoon when the trend is to the downside, it's a little bit of a different story. You can like that price, but much like Square, I want to see the futures bouncing off support. I want to see volatility making a top, like something else to give me confirmation if you get down to that price. You get it in the morning in the vacuum at 9:30, that's a different story. We like those dip buys at a key level pretty much regardless of what the market is doing a lot of times, but in this particular case, I want to be patient with it. It was just a struggle on Micron. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm really up or down or fantastically on the stock. But clearly, there was shorting opportunities in the morning. It just somehow managed to catch more of a bid than I was expecting. I really thought we were going to fill the gap down to 75 on Micron with the chip weakness. It just didn't happen. Maybe it's going to make another. Maybe it's going to make another run here. At this point, 80 is your resistance level on Micron, but not nearly as weak as I would have anticipated. Just given the fact that they were selling on the earnings, you get the downgrade of Nvidia, which is obviously a popular name. You hold below that 200 period moving average. There just wasn't any follow through. Do I think it feels like we're headed to 75? Yeah, I do. Like if you hold this area from the 200 period to that 81, I think we're going to 75. It's just about structuring trades better. And I think that means shorting the 80 to 81 as opposed to trying to catch lightning in a bottle at 77, 78 like I was. I am in GameStop, by the way. Third time, hopefully a charm. That's going to need to be. But just quick, I don't know if we're going to talk about the meme stocks. But GameStop did get to 175. I tried to short in the breakdown. That was a loss. Tried to short here when it was trying to take out that 170. In and out, you can sort of see on top of each other, tight stop. And then 175 up here, we've managed to grab. Last out is going to be in front of 165 because that's been a lot of support. You can see all week long, this 165 level's been pretty good. So that's about all I'm willing to take here. If we can get 65, great. We'll run to the exit pretty quickly.
All right, Neil, you touched on Mullen there off the top. My biggest question, or one of my biggest questions kind of coming into today was, would this thing hold this area from yesterday afternoon after the big move up? So answer yes. There's the clean test, and we're right back into the range. So whether or not this news ends up being anything, and again, it's about the vans, the report, if you missed it, not that fancy-looking car we have up there. Anyways, that's also apparently one of their products. Holds this support area, 290, 285, goes right back into the range. Down here, a bit of an issue, though. Volume kind of dying off already.
Yeah, and look, I wanted to be more excited about it, but when I was going over it and sort of analyzing the trade for myself, I look at it and say, it was just a better short off of that high. And you can get the longs off that, first off of $3 and then off that 280 level. That's great. And they did work out, and right now it's working. But you can kind of see it's a rejection of the lower high, and it's a trend to the downside. So really, it's a counter trend, catch the falling sword instead of shorting it. But in either direction on Mullen, I think this is probably more interesting. In either direction from this 280 level, either back down to where it consolidated at 2.25 or breaking back out all the way to 420. Like there is room on either side of this range that we're sitting in. And I think that's going to mean we're going to have to pay attention to Mullen. Inside of the range, I guess you can scalp it, but outside of it, it could easily flush back down to 220, and if we break out, room to that 420 area. So it's a nice tight consolidation that when it breaks out, we want to be paying attention to it. I don't really know how this news is going to shake out. Is it going to get named who this buyer is or whatnot? If any of us knew that, then you know what I'm saying? Like we could make a serious
relatively
bet.
Large.
Exactly, relatively large. If we knew who it was, then we could say something different. But until then, we just have to play off the levels and the momentum, and that's what it's about.
Relatively. I just have the one trade early. Yeah, exactly. That was $3 off that. I hit it once and then left it alone, and we got out once it broke 3. So that's that. We had our last 10% in and out on Mullen. Pretty easy. Play the momentum right off the open. We were able to get 338, 340 there, and that was a good trade. And then, held the rest to see if it did along Jeveron, which started going to the upside right now. But just an update on AMD quickly. So yeah, Mullen was 1 in, 1 out. We'll see what happens. I think that'll be super spicy. I mean, don't sleep on that name, obviously. Once that I guess, buyer gets named, or once that becomes official, then you'll see something. AMD right here, we're going to get out if it takes out this wick right now. 109.70, here it comes out right now for 40-cent winner. Like I said, it was $1 and change down here, but I don't have that crystal ball. All I can do is try to make some winners here, and this is one. So, 110.10 short. As you can see, we have 110.11 short. So we're going to get out here at 70, so we'll put in that 40 cents into our pocket. Like I said, we did have more, but I'm just not going to hold this. If the futures want to do this again down here, which is really nothing. I mean, it's at the low of the day. So it's just, could we bump up and retest the 50 period? If so, then we break and we're up here, then this becomes a losing trade. So I'm definitely not going to be doing that. We'll hold on to it for a little bit longer here. But AMD just pennies away from getting out. Just wanted to give that update, and we're out. So there it is right there. Yes, a nice little win for us. We'll go bang on that one. And all we really did here was sort of stack that cash. We're at the highest spot we've been at all day again right now. So AMD back-to-back jacks there. Nvidia was a good one. We haven't even got to NEO yet, but we'll run through here, and then we'll talk about NEO in a bit.
Yeah, we can talk about NEO here, actually. Baidu, guys. I mean, all the Chinese ADRs back to the downside today, but Baidu added to the SEC's list of whatever you want to call it, possible D-list to come for Baidu today. So a big move down. I'll show you the chart in a second here, but it's worth mentioning all these other ones like PDD, BABA, TME, JD, and even NIO. Not going to fare well in that type of headline kind of a day here. 7.5% just made a day low there for Baidu.
Yeah, it's getting absolutely crushed. And on the higher time frame, the bottom that Baidu made was probably one of the better ones a couple weeks ago because it was exactly at 100. And where it flushed through is essentially the low of the day today. So you can just jot down 132 because that was a double bottom until it got broken by $30 and then snapped right back in 2 days. And 132 is the low that we're staring our face at right now. So, that kind of a level is just a monster one. And you can sort of look at what I would have hoped would have been a little bit of something here today. There was no chance at it, 142, 143, back up here in the daily. But for Baidu specifically, it is going to be that 132. I've written it down. I should probably go in and set an alert for it because that's the thing that you do. But that goes. The gap fill is just, it's because it was 2 days, it essentially went back from that 100 level into 130, and really it went further on that second day. That's just such a gigantic gap fill in either direction. We spent 4 days down there, and really it was like 3, maybe 2.5 even. So we get through that level, and you could absolutely have floodgates opening back up. Now, just because these names get delisted doesn't mean that people can't be invested in the stock or anything like that. But you'd have to get the listing in Hong Kong and then transfer over there, get Hong Kong dollars in your account, and make a currency conversion. So it's a pain in the butt, and some people will choose just not to have their shares and sell them, and that's exactly what you're seeing today. But 132, wow, that stands out.
I tweeted this out. It's pretty funny here. It's a pretty funny meme. Credit to Wall Street Memes here, but the IRS trying to figure out how I made 8,700 trades for a $16 profit. So I do that because sometimes I sit here and make fun of myself because of trades like this. But trust me, this is not $16 profit. It's 17. But you can see right here, this short on NEO, basically we went long. We tested early this 22 level because, again, if you go back, we thought this at this bottom of 22 bucks yesterday. We just wanted to see if this epic fall would have held. It didn't. So we got in and out of this one real quick, right? This was like, honestly, if you see about how fast this was, we got long at 06, out 11s, out 14s. That's probably 20 to 30%. And then out of the rest on the 90 break, which is basically the break lower. And then we just said, okay, let's just be a little smarter about these things here. Look what NEO's doing today, and we know we want to be short this. So here we go, NEO into the short right now for this name. And all we did was we just simply waited for this stock to come back up, hit it a little bit, and we started hitting this name short. Short rate here, 32, 33. Again, part of this was off of this view up. We knew we had 50 protection there. So again, we short that, down, 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 nice little pop back up, short it again. And then this is where, we really start raining down the cash and start hitting the fireworks now, because this is when NEO was just print, 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 print. And here's all the trades we had. And again, it's a $21 stock. Obviously, we're going to put on some shares here, right? So as we start getting it out, boom, boom, boom. And then I was like, okay, this is really starting to go. And then it turned out to be every 10 cents. So there's O's, there's 96s, there's 88s, There's 78. And now you're seeing me hold something. I'm holding less than 1% of what I had in the first place. And the reason why is, like Neil was talking about, setting up alerts and things like that. I'm trying to wait to see when this goes back, if it ever does, back up here to VWAP, which is literally my price. I'm short at 21.32. So we've already broken this 50 period. I wasn't really using that anymore. So it already broke that. I had such a small piece that it didn't matter. So now I'm going to hold it to see if it gets back up to VWAP. So when you do see me holding this, I mean, you could tell, like, I'm out of this stock. That's why I tweeted out that meme there. Also after the Nvidia scalp, which was a good thing we did that. CEO confirms NIO is developing its own phones. Names Apple as potential rival. Yeah, good one. Yeah, everyone's naming Apple as potential rival. That's pretty funny. Yeah, right there.
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, 21.11 right now. I'm debating going short now into this name. But again, the market is starting to get back to the upside. So shorting NIO, even though it looks like it's barcoding a bit, and we do have some of these highs, still feel like it has some more room to go. Forget about shorting 30s. Like, if we can get into here 24, 25, then that's probably something that we'll deal with. I kind of laugh at that. I mean, I think it's great to get into new spaces. I just don't know if the phone space is the right one. I know Tesla's trying to come up with a new one. I thought Amazon was thinking about something as well, but yeah.
Like, I get it, because everyone has interconnected devices and whatnot. I mean, I was only chuckling because of the
I saw it in the chat.
names Apple is a competitor, because it's like, yeah, okay, so like, obviously, if you're not competing with them, then you're not making phones. But I got to do this one. We're going to jump ahead here, because I don't think we're going to talk Longeveron. And Longeveron, that's what it should be. And I made a joke in the chat that it's like, sat long all morning, and then took the long break at 10. I did short 12, so I can't say I didn't short it at all, but then took the short 12. It only got to 11. Couldn't find the way back into the long, only to then have this very short-lived short off the high of the day. Reverse into the long, because that's essentially been the play all session long, but that was very short-lived. I was in at like 90, and then out and reversed when it broke 20. 12.06 was the high of the day on Longeveron, by the way. It broke 12.06. I ended up getting slipped up to 12, and just picked up some more on a dip. This stock is only going one way at this particular point. And every now and then, that's just how it is. However, of course I put a but in there, right? Like, if you start to get to $14, I know that's a long way away from here. You start to get to 14 bucks, I would short 14 bucks. And it's the easy way to put it. 13, you're taking some out on every single break. You're scalping some on the way to the upside. But $14 would be that price where, much like when it got to 12 off the 10 break, it was a reverse. If we get to 14, I just feel like that has to be a short level in the afternoon. It's nowhere near where it was the last time it squoze. But certainly, that's one level where there was a monster sort of both capitulation and then was a rejection of that 14. So let's see what happens on Longeveron. It's been a heck of a ride so far today.
AMC tried to get positive, failed miserably. Now we're down 3% again. It has been, a choppy day for these stocks as well after what we saw earlier in the week. But we did, ever so very slightly, get positive up there around 26. But back to the downside here, guys, once again for AMC.
Don't do it, Lucas. Don't do it.
What did he do?
No, him and I seem to be yawning relentlessly here right now.
It's actually getting hot.
Talking about, is it Friday yet? I don't know. I feel like I had a good sleep, but I don't know. I'm pretty. I don't feel tired. I don't know what it is. Okay. Yeah, AMC. So, hey, what's up, Ape Gang? I mean, you guys failed me today a little bit. And, of course, we're just joking around with that one. Normally, we go long and short on this name, so it's okay. But today, we were just looking long. We felt like it came into some levels that we talked about supporting 24. It just didn't work. And then it worked. And, again, it's just my style of trading. I mean, I could have held these things forever and didn't. So, you work. Lucas.
What just happened?
Man, this guy's going to be killing me soon.
Oh,
but anyways, down to the downside right here. 26. We talked about 26 as a possible breaking spot for AMC to go long off of like some of these breaks. That's $25.70, $26 right into here as the bottom. You can see it's been a nice little recovery for AMC for sure. So I think the longs were pretty good. We waited for 22 was where we really wanted to start piling in. But unfortunately, it only went down as far as 23 and change. makes that move back to 26, and right now just chilling out. So we'll see if it gets back to VWAP. I think that's a good little trade there. That would be 24.50 back here, back into VWAP where we've had some support before. So if I do take it this time, I mean, again, like I can't hold it past this because if it breaks, I mean, I could use less shares and do that, but you know, again, I'm trying to, you know, keep a decent little streak going on here. We've been positive every single day this week, and we're going to be positive today, obviously, unless I screw something up. And that doesn't necessarily matter. I don't take a trade, you know, reflecting on my net. It's just if we take a long here, we have to get out if it breaks. So I don't know. I want to wait for this to happen. I really like AMC when the volume starts to ramp up. I mean, the same thing's going to be true of GME, and which Neil's going to talk about in a minute. And it's just like right now, it's kind of just not doing a whole hell of a lot. So let's see if AMC gets excitable again at some kind of levels. Maybe it's this 25.20. Let me know in the chat if there's any levels that you guys are looking at that I can't like figure out. So let me know if there's any levels that you guys like long here on AMC, and I'll have a look as well, because right now I'm kind of just like stuck. I want to make a trade on it. I just can't find anything unless we get back down to that 24.50.
Oh yeah, and if you see one on GameStop, throw it in the chat too, and I'll get the heck out of the short. It was a frustrating day for me on. Well, I shouldn't maybe use. I'll use something else for the frustrating stock because we're talking AMC GameStop. It's been frustrating on GameStop for me, mostly because if you watch the morning show, the first thing I said was look at this 159, 160 level. I should start with the highest time frame first. This is 159, 160. You broke out from this level. Your 200 period is right there at about 63. So you come in after a double top off 200 and a possible consolidation off this level here. And I said, long in front of 160, 159 stop. Now, is it a reversal when you break a level like this? Yes, it is. You start thinking about the short trade to the bottom. However, I didn't even try the long. And why didn't we try the long? And not a bad reason, I don't think, but either way. Once it broke out first and you break 170 here, break out, rips to the upside, it then wasn't the dip buy into the support level I was looking for. It was a failed breakout into the support level I was looking for. So I canceled. I said, as it happened, I'm like, oh, got to cancel my bid because that dip buy is no longer valid. And I'll just do the short. Well, it does a short, immediately fails. Don't get me wrong. This short did print you like $2 if you were willing to take it, but that was about 1-to-1 what I was trying to risk on the short, so I didn't take it, and then we lose initially. Throw out the long idea, and then, of course, what does it do? It ends up holding a series of higher lows and then breaks out, and then at that point when I miss out on the long, all I can see is the tops, and then we short the tops. It doesn't work off of 171 there, the previous high of the day. Then does work, well, at least is working, I should say, off of 175. Can't seem to get back into VWAP. So, you know, GameStop has been strong today. It found that support, came in thinking there was going to be a way to play the longs off that support. But as you pointed out there, Sean, I don't know if you can see. Can you guys see on the 15-minute here, volume? This is actually the lowest volume day for GameStop over the last like 6 or 7 trading days. So even though it's made a nice bottom, it's not on a heck of a lot of volume. That's not the strongest thing you want to see. It's great support level, but not a heck of a lot of volume there for GameStop. And I think that's why it's not so obvious what to do off this. Either you get the high or it comes all the way back to 60s. In the middle is really tricky when you're trading on low volume. The thing that you got to be trading is something that's moving. The chips are moving, the market's moving, and long Chevron now through 1250 again. So the stock is just booming to the upside. 14 could happen.
That stock, you mentioned the chips. We hit this for a new position alert. We are now into AMD short again right here, 109.63. Let's just wait to see if it goes, man. I mean, we've averaged in this. We'll average in one more time up here. Again, it's not a monster position by any stretch of the imagination because the futures really aren't guiding us right now. I'm trying to play the direction, and if you look here, you know, it's been down, 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 down. So let's see if it continues and then maybe tests some of these lows again, in which case then we would have that winner that we need here on AMD. I'm thinking like back into here in the 40s, and then maybe we test it right here back and forth with AMD. So, you know, short. This was a keystroke error that we had, but now we're going to see if it can print back down in. And again, we're going short AMD, and I'm just using this 110. If it takes 110, then we'll get out. I mean, it's that simple. It's not going to be a complicated trade. So AMD short right now. I mean, now it's printing. Now we're a dime in the money, but let's see if it comes back in. I'm pretty sure I have a bid somewhere in the low 50s here to take that dime for the first 10% or so, and then we'll just see if it comes back in, and then we'll take some outs and then my next out is in the 30s. So we'll see about that coming back in here. We were ready for a reload. We just missed it by a little bit. We're at 85. So let's see if AMD wants to get back to the downside, and then I'm thinking we retest some of those lows. Look, man, it's down 8%. It was down like 8.5% down here at 109 flat. So let's see if we can retrace a little bit back to 109 flat. It's a new position alert, and it's short AMD, which normally I like to go long, obviously, on these chip names, but we can identify weakness when we see it, and today definitely, I mean, AMD just goes to 52 and stops, but here we go. Let's see if we can't take a first chunk out. Get it to me right now at that 52. Bang, there it is. I know one way you can wake up, and that's with some winners, or you can light one of these things, and then hopefully that might put you to sleep. But there it is. Nice little win here for AMD. And yeah, baby, we're getting accelerated one more time, because here goes AMD right to the downside. A nice little 25-cent winner, Brendo, as we talk chip names ahead of that AMC path and frustrating stocks still to come.
Yeah, the market as well. Back to essentially session lows. I wanted to show you this. A crazy spike at the end of the pit session for crude oil. Wrapping up the month essentially at its lows. We're still trading electronically, but that's 100. So it comes back in and tags 100 on the number right at 230 there on a huge volume spike. So yeah, down 7% at the lows there for crude oil. Let's talk about path here, because we discussed it pre-market off earnings. Not good right across the board for earnings. I mean, this one, we were talking about, choppiness today and a bit of a back and forth day, but this one pretty clean all day long to the downside.
So I'm going to get to path in a quick second because I have to get to long jumper. This is insane, by the way. This is a 3-minute chart, and it has now been breakout 12, and twice it is flushed back into 12. This is good. It's not going to work very soon, because you can see it goes 12, 12.50, 12, 12.75, and each time falls like a rock back into $12. So at some point you're going to get a breakdown here, or it has to take out 13s. I keep reloading it in front and sort of scalping this, but look, I don't think it's going to last. Like, that is a big capitulation candle. It's still held the 12 level. I'm stopping out at 11.85 on this thing, and then just going to try and ride some of these shares up to 13 even. The volume is spiking here, but that was a big rejection at 12.75. It gets back up there. I'm likely to get just about everything out, because it's getting really, really wild up at the top. And one of these flushes could easily take you down to 11 or potentially halt. That's just the way it's trading, and I'm not getting caught if this thing is halting down.
We had a monster spike up right there. We were just cashing out of our AMD, and then all of a sudden it was like Pop City there on the NASDAQ with a big move back up through the 50 period. And now, like Brendan, just when we threw it back here, Brendan was like, we're now testing session lows. And then all of a sudden a big move through 15,000 again for the NASDAQ. So we're going to try to protect our AMD short. But yeah, that was a big move up there. So we will give a little bit back. But hey, that's why, man, like I said, IRS and everything, Scalp City, like that's why we take this. Like that's 52, that's a dime. Then we just took a 34 print down there. So that was 50 cents on the short, 30 cents, sorry, on those shorts, right? And so now we might lose that 30 cents and give it right back if it takes out 110. But there's a big move up there. I'm going to try to get some more out and then just get a little lighter. I don't know what that move was about. I'm not seeing anything. So now we'll wait to see what's happening now as this market seems to go back upside. Maybe, I think it was maybe Biden just finished and the market popped. I don't know. But that was a big move up there. One of the larger candles that we've seen out of nowhere there, like, I don't know, it was just down, down, down spike. So we'll wait to see, but we're back into the, not back into the short. We got the average that we wanted. I just didn't think it would happen on that big, huge candle spike there. So back down to 71. We didn't get any out there, but we're going to see if it comes back into the 70s and ease this position up a little bit. But you talked about UiPath, and I mean, that was one of the names that we had perfectly done right on here, short to 25. That didn't really come in. But then what about hitting the 22 as a possible support and or break to the downside? So when you look at, I know Neil just talked about it, but when you look at...
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
Go ahead, man.
Oh, you were talking about Longeveron, that's what it was. Yeah, so there's UiPath, and then there's the 22, right? It held 22 pretty good for a bit, and then once it gave up the ghost, bang, all the way down to 20 and change. It's all-time lows now being hit for UiPath. Now coming back up, probably a decent short into this spot right now for UiPath. 2180 or so. Ugh, that might be a good short now. I don't know why it's coming back. We thought Aunt Kathy would come in here and buy a little bit today. I don't see any big buy candles, so I'm guessing that didn't happen. Okay, man, are we going to make a little more money on this? We just got some bids in the 70s again on AMD, but oh no, there it goes. Now it's starting to pop again, back up to the upside. This is so violent right here today. The market just the market just continues to go. Wow, what a good save that was there on AMD. Like we just told you about getting some out right there, so we did get some 77s there before letting it pop right back up. So actually, a pretty flat trade. Could have been better, but again, I have no idea where that spike's coming from.
So speaking of 22 there, just because obviously Longeveron, you just talked about that 22 in either direction, it's still a downward trend, and it just spiked up with the market at these lows, and it's close to that 22. I mean, I don't mind if you're going to short pops. You can always short the pop in the weakest name out there. So I'll take a shot at this if it gets above that 21.75, 3/4. I don't know why I always want to say 3/4, 21.75. So I'm sitting at 80s right now, trying to catch a bit of a short. And I don't mean to always come back to Longeveron, but it's starting to get like really whippy in this range. It's pretty binary here. Basically, I'm going to hold a little bit left, and I'm going to tighten the stop. Actually, I'm not going to tighten it. We'll give it to 11.85 still. But either we take out the high pretty soon, or this is primed to sort of dump down into 11 bucks. Like it's getting pretty wild on Longeveron, and the market also starting to come into the upside. And a lot of times on a weekday where the market is relatively weak or has been falling down all day long, and then the buying starts coming into the quality names, the overall market, some of the runners and the low floaters, sometimes they dump because of that. Like the selling comes in, it's like, ooh, I can sell that, and then buy the rally into the close, provided there's a rally into the close. So that's what I'd be afraid of if you're long the top in a Longeveron, or this, and thank you for pointing it out, SABS, which I did not see. I now do see, and we couldn't find any news on it. So up 65%. I just looked at it for the first time here today. I'll check to see what we can find on it or how expensive it is to short. But SABS, another runner here at that high of the day, I'd be a little bit wary. If the market really, really rallies here, sometimes they do pull the rug as money comes out of these others.
Another new position just quickly here. We averaged into NEO here on the top side. So we'll see, man. I mean, the market's taking off. So I don't, I'm not sure about some of these shorts anymore, but we are going to try it. This is why we were holding it. So now you can see, like, this is what I'm talking about. You know, when I tell you my positions, I tell you how many shares I have. Like, now look at my average price, $22.30, right? Like, that's part of what we're talking about. And I told you I was only holding like 1%. So when I take a short now at 22, that's my average price. So there you go. Nice little trade in. Let's see. This view up is 32. Someone asked me, why am I shorting NEO? It's really just the fact that it's down that 4%. We took down some key levels there today that I felt anyways, that 22 didn't hold, and I thought 22 would hold right into here. It didn't. Obviously, we're not going to be retesting any of these lows, but the 50-period moving average also is here at 21 or 22 flat. So, we're now below that. If you look at a 20-minute chart on NIO, and again, thank you for asking about this in the chat, right? I kind of just said back, and I didn't see your answer. I think it was Sari, S-A-R-I maybe, that was asking me about it. And again, it's just, I really would think that this would have held. And when it didn't hold, I switched my mind over to the short. And then we have some of these other bottoms here, 2160 coming in. It doesn't look like anything here on the chart, so it's not like, this is a great technical trade. It's really just more of a feel than anything else. And it's like NEO today, it's down that 4%. It's had a monster run up from that $13, $14. They're getting some slack, obviously, for being Chinese and being the D-list and all that sort of rhetoric and talk and blah, blah, blah. So for me, I wanted to look short for something. And in here, the 50 period was just cruising to the downside. That's why we rode this all the way down and got out. Now we're not using that as an indicator. I'm actually going to say, I don't think there's enough juice and enough longs for NEO to get through this 21.30. Could be completely wrong. We're taking a position now. We're putting sort of our money where our mouth is. Let's see if this one can go. And that's my out, man, 21.32. So if it takes out 21.32, we're gone. We are averaging in up to 21.27 is my next offer. So right now, even just on that reload, we're in the money 2 pennies. But let's see if it can now retrace back here. First out like 11 or 10, and then we'll see about lower than that on NEO. We could be busted here, man, but I like the short, and we'll see if the market likes it as well.
Yeah, so sometimes there's just not enough juice. We're going to Miss V.
The juice is loose.
Oh, I don't know.
Hey guys. Hey guys, I hope last 2 hours of this trading day bringing you some great opportunities, and I really want to ask you to smash the like button, guys. I feel like the closing show is underrated and like button needs your attention. Please make sure you give a like for all the 3 shows we do: morning, mid show, and the close. We really need your support. And here we have a question for Neil from Nick W. Can you ask Neil what his thoughts are on TMC, the metals company? Any thoughts on TMC, Neil?
The metals company, why not? And look, I know Brendan brought this one a couple of times here, and yeah, look, it's been absolutely churning to the upside. One of the things, the first thing I always tell people when thinking about a chart to the upside is, if you have more volume on the late day break, which is A, what you have here on TMC, B, you have a linear move to the upside, and this is what I mean by linear. Like, it's not parabolic the whole way. Like, it's not really looking like it's overextending itself. It's got consolidations, it's got pullbacks. On top of that, I'll do you one better. It's also a ways away from the obvious highs. Like, and it's a strong stock. I mean, it's been strong, obviously, and it's got a nice little breakout to it. There's no obvious reason why you'd be taking things out until it gets to like a $3. It's a nice churn to the upside. It would either take one push a little bit too far, too fast, but it's had these decent consolidations and breaks, nice little pullbacks and breaks. And unlike GameStop and AMC, which we were just pointing out, right? Like yesterday, this is day 2. Well, when it took out the high in the afternoon, that was on more volume than either of the 2 days for that move. And it's sustaining some of that volume going in. So that's a bit of a stronger looking chart. But I just showed you the daily there. We have that 3 to 3/4 is obvious resistance. 3 would feel like a short to me. But I'd rather it go parabolic into a level like that. And speaking of things that went parabolic, I guess I just always see reversals everywhere, because I got out of Longeveron and now it's broken 13. So here it goes. Like I said, I don't think I would be shorting this thing until it got to $14. It was 10 to 12 to 14. If that's too obvious and it runs me over, fair enough. But we'll see what happens when it gets to that price. I mean, congratulations to anyone that stayed long in Longeveron. I wish I had held a little bit more. Here comes 13.5. What an unbelievable run. Up 100% in a few seconds.
Low floats all over the place today, guys. Let's talk about some frustrating stocks. It was a very back and forth, kind of choppy open. So it was a day where you could get a little frustrated.
Nah, never. Yeah, I like this. I like this little segment that we've developed here. Frustrating stocks. So, yeah, as I look, really, I don't know. I mean, we talk about this all the time. I would say really, my frustrating stock, I mean, I could go to Longeveron because we did have the long here earlier this morning. We only had one trade. We got it at 8:30, and we thought we were pretty good, taking out 50 cents when at $10, and then now it's at 13. So a little frustrating there, not learning the lesson of possibly holding for a little bit longer. I feel like, now that I look at this, Mullen was a good trade for me. I mean, frustrated maybe with the fact that AMC really didn't move much for me today, and frustrated that, you know, I was unable to really find any levels to get back in on AMC. So I don't know. I feel like I traded pretty good today, so nothing's really frustrating me. If anything's frustrating me right this second, it's going to be the futures. I mean, they're flat right now, doing nothing, heading into power hour now. So I'm hoping that we can get some downside moves now in the futures as we're short NEO nicely in the money, well, a little bit in the money. But yeah, I don't know. I'm today pretty clean. I don't have too many frustrating stocks. Just wish that obviously we had held our AMC a bit longer. And other than that, yeah, I think it's been a pretty clean day for me.
So, I mean, I can easily say a GameStop, but I kind of went over that. And I could easily say Tesla, but that was so quickly one and done that I'll show you what Tesla was like. It was, okay, let's try to break 1100. take 1100 and then be essentially like right out of it. So it didn't really last long enough to be terribly frustrating. I didn't get stubborn with it, didn't average into it or anything like that. So it's It's Tellurian, and it's been a great stock. It was a great short to open the week. It was then a breakout long. But what's frustrating about this is it gave you essentially the same. I mean, we had 17s was a breakout yesterday. And, I didn't get the dip in the pre-market off of those levels, but it gave you the same level of consolidation for a breakout and then a reload. And then I said at the end of the show, it's like, hold on to something for it to break out at the highs. And when it broke out at yesterday's highs at 560, I was really thinking it was headed to $6, right? So I said to myself, $6 or trail back into VWAP on the 3-minute. It trailed back into VWAP on the 3-minute. And when you go binary like that, then it either gives you everything or it gives you nothing.
Let's talk about Tesla, guys. For the second time in 2 years, we're talking about a Tesla stock split and what that is going to mean going forward. This was the headline we came into on Monday of this week. Tesla discussing plans for a stock split. And it was up 8% on that day alone on that news, and the possibility that this could lead to, wait for it, a dividend for Tesla. What does this mean, guys? And what can we expect as far as where this could send the stock?
Well, it's not the first time that dividend's been thrown out there. We did hear that last year. And look, obviously, you can debate whether or not you want a growth company paying a dividend in the first place. And quite frankly, there's a strong argument to be made that why would Tesla pay a dividend when they do a fantastic job of leading innovation and investing in themselves is the way to go. Build more factories, continue to beat everybody up in the EV space. Go ahead and do that because growth is what everyone wants in the stock. I get that. And I kind of believe, I love dividend stocks, so it's hard for me to even say that, but it probably feels like the right thing to do. Either way, you've had just an unreal run. And what I see going on here, when you have all the call buying that we've seen and the gamma squeezes, let's forget a little bit about the fundamentals. And when you start to think about the kind of consolidation it makes, it gets pretty binary. If we do not, if the market on a weekday like today, and Tesla's going to be flat, if it's going to continue to do that, and we consolidate like this, you're looking at a possible secondary breakout at 11.17, 11.18. It's the kind of catalyst and consolidation break that can just sort of squeeze it more into that 1,200 range. So that's what it feels like is happening here today, but you're not out of the woods because you've had 3 days of essentially selling where it's trying to break back down. This is what I mean. Inside of here, you could almost bet in either direction and then look for significant movement of like 5% in either way. And that's what it feels like is going on here with Tesla because we just came, 750 to 1,100. Man, companies this big do not do that. This is it's historic. You do not see companies like this make moves like that. Apple's was just as impressive in a lot of ways. But because Tesla has done this now multiple times, it did this after the S&P 500 thing.
Right.
It's just, you don't see it happen. And there's nothing like Tesla completely blowing the minds of traders on an almost weekly basis.
Okay, so the question that we're asking here on the video is this a second rally incoming here for Tesla? So, I'm going to go back to the very first time they announced that first split, right? That was August of 2020, okay? In 1 month, Neil, how much do you think it went up?
Well, I have the daily chart up.
So how much do you think it went up in 1 month?
Well, I don't have it back there. It was probably 35%?
Yeah, 80%.
Okay.
So it went up 80% in 1 month off the first announcement of the split. I have the chart right here. So yeah, I kind of put Neil on the spot there, but I didn't believe it either. That's why I was just trying to see what number you're going to say. Here it is right here, kind of barcoding, doing nothing. Announced the split. It was actually the 10th. Okay, so it was already not even, it was like in 12 trading days, not even that. We went from $282 all the way up to $505 in 1 month. 80% up for Tesla. You want to talk about market caps and things like that and what was added on that part, but now you go in. We were just talked about this, was what, Monday or so. So you're talking about a week. Tesla's moved, let's just call it 1,000. Really the week started here, like 11, 1060, so on, up to 11. And anyways, it's moving and it's starting to go back up to the upside. I believe Tesla does take out 1,200. It does take out 1,250 on this. And why? people like splits, right? What do splits do? Brings the price back down. Not only that, they're also talking about the dividend, I think helps rally the stock, puts them into different ETFs. Out of 35 analysts on the street right now with Tesla, there are 11 strong buys, 9 holds, and 6 sells. So I think it's pretty mixed on the street right now about Tesla. I don't know if that's going to get re-rated. We still have another earnings call coming through, or well, earnings period coming through, and we're going to see what happens with Tesla. But for me, the sticker shock right now, and of even Tesla being at right now, guys, $1,100, that's going to scare a lot of traders away. So I really feel like a split lower on this, and I think it was, what was it, 5-1 or so, bringing this thing back down to, I mean, who knows where it's going to be at that time, but let's just say that brings it down to 250, 300, something like that. It makes it a little more reasonable for traders to get their money into Tesla, makes options a little cheaper as well. So, hey, look, do I think there's a second rally coming? Yes, I do.
The stock, as I wanted to mention as well, 1147.75 was the opening print on the first day of this year. This is one of the only mega cap companies to erase, 90+% of the move down we've had this year alone. A lot of that having to do with the cult following behind it. So more to come, probably, for Tesla. One thing to note here, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Unfortunately, Danielle Shea had to cancel. Yeah, computer issues, guys. So we'll catch up with Miss Shea next week. Unfortunately, not going to make it today, guys.
So it's interesting. It sucks not to have Danielle Shea coming through, and hopefully,
Is that an official squash?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not.
Can we reschedule her tomorrow?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I'm like, hopefully we can get her back on tomorrow. So Sean's going to go ahead and try and get that pulled together because it's fun to have her on. We love getting that.
I won't try.
Options look, because we're talking about Tesla calls. I had a conversation with my barber when I got my haircut this week, and we're talking, and this is not to plug the Neo Exchange or anything, but people don't like investing when they got to put too much in all at once, and that's the thing about what people like a split. But at least in Toronto, we have the option of trading these CDRs where you can call up like Tesla. Come on, load up here. .to. It's doing this thing where it just waits a second to load. And again, essentially, it's in Canadian dollars, and yeah, it's loading up. It tracks Tesla, and I forget the actual ratio. You can go look them up. But all of the major New York and NASDAQ listed names, Tesla, Amazon, Apple, Google. Now, they're not great trading vehicles, but it's like for a buy and hold, it's great for us Canadians. So we don't need the split, baby. We can get in if you want to be a starter on something like that. Go ahead, and I think just sort of understanding what's out there in the market and available to you is what I'm really getting at. And it's not to say that it's a great tool for everybody else, but if you're north of the border, it's a great one for us to be able to do. And the split is just something, it's cosmetic, but there are two big factors, like you said. One of them bring the price down. In Tesla's case, and now with fractional shares, I would say the fact that it makes options cheaper is probably a bigger deal for the stock price personally than anything else, because you can trade one share now. And it used to be that was just not something you had to actually buy big lots years ago, and now you don't have to. So, the sticker shock it's a factor, but it's not as big as what it used to be.
Just shout out to Sorry or whoever, like I said again, when we were talking about taking this Neo short. Well, now it's breaking, man. We're going to give it to 21.30. I think it was 21.35, wasn't it? Yeah, so a break. No, I got to give it to 21.35. So a break through 21.35, like 21.36, will get out. So it is right at that level. We've averaged into the short here. Like I said, it's not a big, huge position because there's only an hour left, but still, we're in it, and it's going to be a loser for us, so a good call out on that one. That just seems like a little bit of I don't want to say a big move, but, from 20.80 up to 21.35, almost in a straight line. We did have a little bit of stop here between 21 and 21.10, and it looks like we'll be stopped out. I mean, we're short at 21.27 right now, and 5 cents out, but hey, it looks like a good call by you to think about going long. So it is above the 50 period, and I'm making notes as we go here. I mean, I'm learning every single day as well what to do, what not to do. I mean, it sounds crazy after 21 years, but like my general general rule is to short and play the trend. And you hear me all the time. Those of you that follow my trades, I get so mad at myself. It's like, why am I short Facebook now? And it's, ripping the whole day. And I keep seeing these levels and shorting in front of them. But when you have momentum behind you, levels don't really matter. And right now, NEO is starting to go to the upside on pretty low volume, but it doesn't want to retrace back down. We did take some out. Like when we got short this 27, that's a 21 fill and that's a 20 fill. So we did get some outs here on the way back down, which allowed us to average back in, but still a losing trade right now for NIO. Still have hopes that it comes back here to this 50 period, but yeah, right now we're going to give it that extra little penny. And this is what I do. So if VWAP is at 21.35 or 32 here, I give it that little bit extra just to see. Because if I get out on, here it comes right back in, but if I get out of every VWAP break, then that's fine, but I'm going to be upset when it breaks and then comes right back down. So I'm going to give this one a little bit of room. And with that being said, if this comes even back, you know what? I'm just going to hold this. It is coming back down a little bit. I don't want to just get out of everything now for flat. Let's see if it comes back down and starts to fill up again. I think we'll do the same thing. Bid 21s, bid 22s, start cashing out a little bit of this if it comes back down, and then we'll celebrate a bigger victory if it gets back to 21 flat or even 21.10, like I said.
You can either know the path or you can walk the path.
Or you can UI the path.
Or you can UI the path. I think that's the line from, I haven't watched The Matrix in a long time. And I'm usually pretty good with movie lines, but I admit I haven't watched it in a while. And I haven't even seen the new one, which is pretty shameful for a science fiction fan. But I just took the first scalp out, and like you said there, I am short in front of VWAP. I like 22 better. VWAP sits here at 21.88. Just as an aside, I think we both agree on this, and I bet you Brendan and Prad would say the same thing. I hate VWAP for an exit price. I think give it some leeway on either side almost every single time. But the next target is going to be around 21.35 in this cluster here, sort of where we had the consolidation last break. The market's going up. So taking some profit on these shorts makes sense. Speaking of which, Gamestop has come all the way back. I should have just taken it out. Like it flushed here to 169, which was, oh, look at that. Yeah, well, that's what, the morning high? It turned around at that price? Duh. And now we're getting right back into the high of the day. So 175.75, 176 is your top. If AMC is still below 26 and there's a chance at a curl, I suppose I'm going to probably go for it. But at this point, it feels so strong here, and it has made a consolidation bottom. Let's not forget the original thesis was that you've made this consolidation pullback off the double bottom, and now you found support, trying to break back up to what seems like these levels, like this 180. So I don't think getting terribly stubborn at 175 or 176, 175, 76 is the way to go here. And as I say that, I'm talking myself out of reloading. There will be no reload in GameStop. And Longeveron, I was waiting for 14. That's where I thought the term was going to come. It got to 13.40, and now it feels like they're pulling the rug a little bit here. But you know what? They pulled the rug like 2 or 3 times off 1280, and it still managed to go higher. This feels a little different, though.
That was hilarious because right before that market started to go upside there, NEO was coming, like it was coming down, man. It went right down to 26. And like I said, we weren't bidding anything because we're like, okay, let's go. And then when the market bumped up and everything started to rally again, even oil still down that 6%, but oil did dip below 100, by the way, down now 6.5%. But that gave us an opportunity to reload, but we are almost out of this. If this breaks through 21, so we got out there, so we took that position, got out there, and there it goes, now we're out. So we're out of it, but I just want to give you an opportunity to just mention like short, out a little bit, short again, out a little bit, and then there eventually is the break to the high side. So bye-bye NEO. Good call for you guys trying to go long on some of these names into the close. That seems to be right. I mean, the market right now is well above the 50 period and starting to go right back upside, man. No Tony, no problem, as this market is going to go green in just a couple seconds. So what a nice day for this to happen. Thought maybe we were going to be a little weaker today, but no, straight up. Good trade here, but there it goes, man. NEO blowing back up to the upside. Do we have a spot where we want to go short? I mean, if you were thinking about it, you could try 21.50 as a psychological level, but I'm going to stay away now. We are above the 50 period. We're above VWAP. If anything, we got to look long on these names. So I'm going to say no to that one on NEO, and then maybe if we're going to do anything on the short side, which again, we want to trade the trend. Remember we talked about that? And right now, AMD, again, this is a one-day chart. You can see the move down, now down 7%. Let's see what it looks like on a minute chart. Definitely ticking up. Someone said, hey, man, what happened to your AMD? Yeah, I mean, I'm out with no damage. I mean, AMD is going to be a decent stock. I'm down on it today, but we got out of the way, so we don't have to absorb this. So now it's starting to go to the upside. And again, not going to short this. We're well above. If we're going to do anything, we're going to find some longs. So let's go fishing for some longs. And we could always go over to Facebook.
I've been like, all I'm doing on my quote board here is go name to name here from the ones I liked in the morning and seeing is anything at a level I can find that's worth digging into. And the strange thing about it, it's like, I can't believe I keep coming back into Tesla, but it might just have to be that because we're still sub 1100 and it's at a nice little consolidation level. It's actually trying to break out at 95 and it's got room. Like if Tesla breaks 1100, it was 1114 to 17 that was overhead resistance. So if we do go green today, Tesla's got room, Brendo.
GREE just popped up. Apparently, the state of New York delaying a decision on a Bitcoin mining license for this one. So GREE moving around a little bit. Also, CCL. We're wondering a little bit about the strength of the market, but 4.5% here. Cruise lines right across the board, very strong on that CDC decision to lift the ban essentially for cruise operators. So 20.5, a bit of a problem here so far, but nice day for Carnival, guys.
I just would never, Greenwich Generation Holdings. At the day, if that stock moves the day before you're supposed to have the cannabis vote, I would have easily bet money that you're talking about an actual cannabis stock and not crypto related. But anyways, that huge volume spike, by the way, that actually pulled in really, really quickly there. And the second I called it up, there's an 8 to 10 cent spread on an $8 stock. And anytime you see a spread on a mover like that, always just be a little bit cautious because sometimes you see volume, you see a mover, and it's under $10. You expect it like 1 cent spread. Immediately there's not a ton of slippage. Not what I'm seeing, and certainly not the case with that greenage. And always, if you don't have a level 2, sometimes it's useful to understand like what slippage might be. And that's if you put a stop order out there. You might, if you're aggressive with like a market order and you put an $8 stop, you might not get 795, 797. You might get 780, 775. And if that factors in your decision making, you want to know that, Brendo.
Robinhood just popping here as well, guys, on a big volume spike. They're saying they're nearing support. Haven't got there yet, but nearing support for retirement accounts, both IRAs and Roth IRAs on the Robinhood app.
Okay, 177. I'm looking at here Apple right now. So sorry, I was just a little distracted on that story right there. But right now, Apple, we did take this short here. And why are we short Apple? Good question again. And I like it when I question myself, whoops, okay, that's not going to work because we have these beautiful lines there. So let's zoom in a little bit more. It's basically, there's another high coming in through as well. 177.25 there as a high for Apple. So we'll see, if it takes that out. I just have a feeling that, like, again, if the market wants to rally, that's great. I mean, I don't want to go counter trend. I thought I'd find something that was a little bit weak in the market, and Apple's never really too weak. But we're going to wait to see here if we do maybe have a little situation happening on Apple. And again, I can't zoom in too much more than this, but here, maybe I'll go on a 3-minute on this because then we don't have the problem with our chart. But there it is right here, 177.30 has been the high here. Tested it. We're testing it right now on a big bump up. So let's try to go short on Apple with a very, very tight stop, man. Just like what we were doing on AMD. This is going to be the first. I'm actually already up on Apple today, so Apple's been a pretty good stock for me already, but we will try this one more time here into the short, and we might get taken out of this very soon. But Apple earlier, and again, I have these, we were going long off of 176. 175.50, and that's where we took about 50 cents or so on these trades. But we do have this down tick that I got to clean up to make this look realistic. But right now, Apple's starting to go back up to the upside. Our out is 177.30. No averaging in, no nothing on this one. I know the hit I'm going to get, and that's that. So we'll wait to see if Apple prints us a little bit more to the downside. That wick was 176.97 down there. We'll wait to see if we get it into the 80s before taking any out. And then honestly, if this thing drops, like even back to VWAP or the 50 period, 70s and 60s, those are good outs. I mean, I don't want to fight Apple at all, but we want to see what this market does coming into the close. Remember, it's kind of rebalanced. It's not rebalancing, but it's end of the quarter, so there will be some rebalancing of some books. So we'll see if that has any net effect on some of these names. So Apple right now, I'm not holding it for the rebalance, just letting you guys know that there is going to be some action coming up here at the close. And we saw, I mean, yesterday, I think it was yesterday, the day before, I was in an Apple or a Microsoft, which was going really well. And then we got out like at 348 or 49 and then held one last piece, and then bang, it went right up against us and we were able to get out. But the point is that is a market moving situation. But I'm going to go short Apple here, see if market does have some weakness.
Yeah, and Brendan just brought you that story from Robinhood. Now, Robinhood's still down because it just flushed this morning, but a monster bounce just now through 14 even. There's a bit of a stacked offer. Phil X, that's a weird.
So what was the story
14,
about
15. So they're trying to get retirement accounts.
Right, okay.
Which, I mean, if part of the problem with Robinhood is account size and the type of trade, like there's other hurdles that are involved there for them in that regard. So there's no obvious level other than 14, which is just for claim. I was about to say, you have air till 14.50, but it looks like, yeah, they just absolutely pulled the rug there. I was about to say if it gets back below that 14, I was going to look for a short, but now you're 20 cents away from the high, which means I don't like risking that much into VWAP, which is at 18, which means your stop, if you get like a 97, 98 short, is a little bit tighter to, I'd say 14.05 here. I'll take that trade. If it gives me a shot here, maybe even consolidates, allows me to take more shares at 14. And that Phil X size that I saw, wait a minute. It was at 13, now it's at 2. So somebody for 25,000 shares on not a random gateway, but not a heavily used one. It's legit. But they tagged it down to 14L2. So I might just stop out ahead of that guy. If they pull the order or get filled, I'm just going to get it. Of course, they just pulled the order and moved it back to 14. I'm just going to quickly show. As I was saying that, I guess a lot of people are probably thinking the same thing. They were sitting, this guy. They were sitting at 13, pulled it down to 05, sorry, to 02s, and then the second it started consolidating below 14 and broke back above 14, pulled the offer back to 14.05. So when you see something like that, a lot of times that means they don't actually want the fill. Every time it moves within 3 cents, they pull back a couple of pennies. That person doesn't want the fill at all. I'm actually going to get out of this. If your reason for getting into a trade a little bit tighter down is invalidated by the fact that that's not a real order, that's not a real seller, even if it works, like that's just kind of, it's not worth being in the trade. We'll stick with what makes sense to me. I'm still holding on to GameStop, but out of the corner of my eye, I'm doing this on AMC. Like if you look at how tightly AMC has been following the trend to the upside, if it breaks, I want to hold till about 170 or 168, somewhere in that range for GameStop. But if we do not break this trend and bounce off this again, and I have the 50 period on one of my charts, if it bounces off this one more time, I'll probably just have to cover GameStop. But it's not to say they have to follow each other, but it's been a pretty strong trend, and GameStop doing something very similar. If we bounce off this one more time, I'm going to have to take the profit. Both have been very strong into a weak market this afternoon. And of course, I get out because that Fugaze order, and then it ends up flushing here on Robinhood.
Yeah, Robinhood. I don't.
I hate people do that.
Yeah, I mean that's a good little note there, I guess, from Robinhood, right? I mean, the more accounts they have open, hopefully the more customers they do have. But like you did mention, though, we know the fact that the average account size, I thought on their last report was like either $400 or $800 or something like that. So we do know that the average trader in there is going to be, well, we know it's either the retail or the smaller sort of beginning investors. So I'm not sure how hot that would be on a retail side of things for IRAs or whatever. But okay, here we go. Apple just tested again high. That would have been a perfect area to reload and just to get more shares, but not even reload, just average in because we're not out of anything yet. But the market is now coming back down. I feel like we got a good level here. I could take profit, and this maybe is getting a little bit, because we're only going to try to lose on this 20 cents. If we're wrong, we're now 20 cents in the money. So it's 1-to-1 rate down here, but I already have a bid. It's just not filling to get exactly that 1-to-1 ratio, which is at 88. So we're waiting there for 176.88 to get a 1-to-1. And then hopefully if it comes back down, then we just start, stacking up that cash, hopefully, to the downside right now on all of that. So let's wait to see where we go. Longeveron only has 20 million outstanding shares. Yeah, that seems about right. Thought it was like 22 million maybe. But LGV, it doesn't matter. Just someone on the chat was talking about it. But what a good move that one had. obviously, and now it's just going to baseline. So I like the 12. You know, if you're going to go long anything, you have your outs. I mean, it based out here at 11.90. So if you go long right now, long Chevron, your out is right down here at 12 bucks with a potential for a much bigger move upside. So if we're going to look at this, and there it is, nice. I mean, maybe I should just get into long Chevron right now. I'm just trying to focus on this Apple trade, which right now, like I said, bring the pain right now down to the downside here for Apple. Oh, we just got a bad wick again. No, we didn't. Okay, good. So here it is. That's the 1-to-1 already. Now we're starting to stack up on that. Every 15 cents down would add to the 1.5 and so on and so forth to the downside here for Apple. So I did want to put a piece out before this 50 period, so we're going to do that again, and then another piece out of VWAP, and then if we're lucky enough to get all the way down here, that's how I'm basing my trades. And again, I talked about this with some of the traders behind, and it was all about consistency in your plan, right? And it's like, if you can level them down, then you can start leveling up your shares, because you know, you have your ideas of where to get in and where to get out, and if it hits, then sure, like you could say, oh man, I only made X amount on this trade, I wish I made more. Well, next time you will. You know, if you have more confidence in your abilities and in the calls, then the next time you will put a little more shares up for risk. So here we go. And as I talk, I don't have an order out, so let's just do that right now. There we go. I mean, whatever, just runs me right over there at 78. So we put a bid out there. We actually got 77s or 78s. I don't know what we used. They're 78. So we got 78 out. So that's the next level. Now I'm going to put a bid right around here, around 62, and just start to layer this thing out. It also gives me the opportunity to reload the short if we wanted to, but I'm not doing that. I'm not going to reload the short on Apple. If we're wrong and the market rips up, fine. We've now taken profit on this. So right now, you know, Apple is one of those money trades where you could do your little money dance if you want to right now, because there it is, Apple. It's only 30 cents, right? But you could take it or leave it. I'm going to hold on to the rest of this to see if we get a little bit of a lower bump here in Apple.
Exactly. You got to hold on to it when it's working. It just means there was a wick in a pretty strong wick upside in the futures that just is starting to reverse. But JAGX, and thank you guys for pointing it out here, spiked, big spike there just now. I know it's a penny stock, but hey, man, if it moves, it's worth looking at. And this is doing decent volume, especially on that recent spike. It just broke out, but it's going to get right into this 80 to 81 area, well, on the daily chart, which is pretty interesting. And you see, it just also put in one of those spike. You know, get to that 80-81, like I said, and then running into a tiny bit of trouble at that price area. And that's always interesting. You just wait for something significant to happen. Either there's a level that makes sense to you, or you actually see sellers start to come in or give an indication of a top, because that gives you a defined out. It gives you a chance to be able to get in a reasonable price. And if you're long, it gives you a reason that you might be taking some profit, because really, when you got this jailbreak, what's your reason for taking anything out here? I don't really see it until you get to this point here. You could take some profit. And guess what? If it continues to go further, hold on to some for the home run. You've banked some profit, and you're good to go. I just got into JAGX. I know I'm wrong if it takes out 81s. I want to quickly show. So now this is, you're actually breaking down on AMC here. It's quickly showing that. It looks like maybe it's going to make that trend back into VWAP. If it does, I want to be holding GameStop now to that level. So I'm kind of watching the momentum there in AMC and seeing if it can't drag GameStop with it a little bit. But you know, it's been the stronger of the two GameStop, so I can't completely rely on that. If I can get 170s, I'll be really happy with it going against the grain here. But there is a bit of a pullback happening on AMC. JAGX, I'll hope to maybe get a few more shares in front of 80. I just got 78.5. I'd love to get some at 79. 79.5, let's just say, get a 79 average price, and then work. You know, 81 is the out.
Yeah, kind of like a rune for me. I don't trade anything sub-$1. So unless maybe CEI I've done before sub-$1, but I'm gonna stay away from those. But obviously Neil is on that, and again, it doesn't. The price of the stock, and this is one thing that you know, I've gone back and forth even with a rune on it. It doesn't. The price of the stock makes no damn difference. I mean, what you're trying to really do is make that cash, right? And I mean, whether or not the stock is $1 or $175, you know, ultimately we're all trying to do the same thing.
You won't trade Tesla because it's too expensive.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm going the other way.
He's weird like that.
No, but I'm weird like that too now that I'm saying, like, I don't care about Tesla, but at the same time, I'd rather stay away from sub-$1. I don't know why. It's just like a psychological thing.
But it's internally consistent.
Yeah.
A rune's not internally consistent. You won't do either.
and he won't pay for shorts either. But why
Yeah,
are we hating on Arun? Let's just hate
I
on
love
Brendan.
Arun.
Let's hate on Brendan.
I love Arun.
We can't hate on Brendan. That's the problem.
No,
so,
never.
with that being said, let's throw over to Brendan. What's up, bud?
Can't we, though?
That actually makes sense.
IMTE, if you want another low float type of deal, IMTE 6 million shares, just took out day highs there on a volume spike, guys. So trying to go through 31 for this one.
Okay, woo.
I know IMT.
Oh, yeah, like...
Oh, did I just get out of...
Now I'm just getting more upset because I just got long Neo, realizing that, yeah, it just came right back in. I got in and out there. So again, like I must have had a stuck order there. Not a stuck order, a pending order. There was nothing wrong with it. It came in, filled me. That's where, oh, come on. This is part of the problem. Like, this is the problem with trading and like why I'm losing my hair here because like now I'm, we just lost on that trade, very small amount, and now it comes back in, but whatever, we got stopped out. That's the stop out now. Obviously, the market's coming back in. I couldn't be happier. We're 40 cents in the money right now on this trade, and we're trying to get out in the 60s here on Apple. So if Apple could just fall back in a little bit more into VWAP here, please and thank you. We're trying to ask as nice as we can, and so we can get out. But you know what, Apple? I don't have to, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to put a bid out right now, like at 70 or something like that. See if we can get out at 70 on Apple and just absorb that. It's bounced off now 3 times down here, 70. So I'll put a bid out. If it fills me 70, great. And the reason why, the market did exactly what we thought it would. I should maybe just go ahead and like we just talked about Arun trading the futures. Maybe we should be trading the futures. I mean, we were talking about that short. Boom, the futures printing. Apple, I guess Apple looks pretty similar to that one. It's just we didn't get our bid down there, so a little bit bitter. But we'll sit on Apple right now, see if we can't take that 40 cents here and then hold the right. Give me that 70. Missed again. See, it went to 71. There. Okay, there it goes, the crank downside. So there it is, spin it. A nice little money trade there on Apple. As we are short Apple right now, 177.10. So, just stacking that cash here into the close. We only have 40 more minutes. So my eyes are just going everywhere, trying to find some opportunity. I think AMC could break down, but again, we're at that 25 level, not doing a whole hell of a lot. Let me guess where Neo is right now. Okay, still floating. This may be a long if the market turns on NI. Oh, Mr. Wicken.
I mentioned that ATVI Microsoft note at the beginning of the show, guys. Apparently, they've now narrowed it down. So at least one meeting took place between ATVI CEO and an options buyer before the days before the deal was announced. So huge spike here for ATVI. So they're probing a meeting, apparently, according to the Wall Street Journal, between the CEO and an options buyer that took place days before, quote unquote, days before the merger deal was announced.
Now, why don't they talk to Mr. Buffett as well? Those guys bought those shares apparently a couple weeks or something before that. I hope that deal gets canceled. So that would be my real wish as a Microsoft shareholder. They paid, what was it, $90 for ATVI? That would be a $30 stock if they didn't do that. So, but anyways, that's my opinion, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I just feel like as a Microsoft shareholder that they spent too much money on that, but hey, I think video games are going to be hot. It's just a play to get into the metaverse and stuff.
The metaverse thing.
I can't hate on them.
Everybody's spending too much money on the metaverse.
Microsoft's been fantastic for my portfolio, and it's probably my #1 day trade here. So I can't complain. I mean, I'm long Microsoft like $30, $40, $50 in my account. I have those prints. So do you guys if you've been investing for 15, 20 years. But Microsoft's been a blue chip name that I bought forever. So as is Apple, which right now we are short, and just cash money right now coming in. 176.30 is going to be my next bid right now. I told you we'd try to take this back down to day's low, and we do not have that crystal ball, although sometimes we feel like it's working pretty good. Right back in right now, 176.30. There comes Apple. We just took it down for 80 cents.
So I did finally get out of GameStop, and it worked out. Sometimes you go 1 for 3 and you're happy about it, and that's because it just was. It could have been my #1 frustrating stock, but I opened up talking about it, so there was no point going over it again. And I don't hold past 170. I just take it. I take it and run. When you don't have the best read on the stock, and ultimately I came in thinking it was going to be a long initially, and then managed to bungle it at that bottom. We're just going to walk away and be pretty happy with that last result. JAGX. Yeah, I gave it 2 ways. So I did take the initial short. It stopped out, but it did one of those wick tops. And that's the thing about if you find a level, or at least what you believe is a key level, a lot of times I wouldn't just jump immediately back into a failed break at a random price. But when the high of the day coincides with a key level like that, and it stops out at the top and then immediately gives you the same entry as before, it failed the break at a key level, I'm jumping in. Doesn't matter that you lost a second ago. you just get right back on the horse. I've already got some out, half of it out in front of 77 and 78. Going to get some more down to 75. I'd probably get all out in front of 72.5, but JAGX really starting to pick up on the volume train. The only two things that we're still in outside of that path, UI path that is, symbol path, that's really now starting to barcode. Mullen's also barcoding. So at this point, if it's not moving, you got to start thinking about getting out. We have to be flat at the end of the day. That means no positions after 4 o'clock. And if it's not moving, that means the upside is not there holding it. Look at that. The market is flushing. UiPath on a bad earnings report down 25%, does not want to go down. Yeah, that's probably a decent reason to start thinking about running to the exit on all of it, guys. So going to be adjusting the stops there. Just got the next leg out on JAGX. We'll put back, I know, I'm Lego. The next leg out on JAGX, it looks like it's really starting to churn to the downside, or at least it was. But you have to find that key level first. When you're fighting the trend, you want to be very, very careful. And as I say that, if you're still long Longeveron, there's $14. What was the price level I said I would wait for? $14. Let's see if I can get a little something on Longeveron. There we go. So patiently waited for that price to attempt a short trade.
Really?
I patiently waited for $12 to attempt a short, and at least that way, if you're wrong off a level like this, like there's no ambiguity, there's no if, buts, woulds, or whatever, all that other nonsense. It's that was the price, and that was where you felt it made some sense. And of course, I'm always going to scalp some out. And when they pull this rug, or when they usually do this, as strong as it's been, every single time it's pulled these little rug pulls here, these are like 50 to 60 cents. And they look pretty big, but really that's 13, 20, down to like 12.50. So when you start dropping back from 14 even, off a level like this, you should be thinking that same thing. Don't always feel like home run for your first legs out. No, think about what it's dipping down, and where support is coming in. If buyers step into every dip every 50 or 60 cents, well, then maybe you should anticipate that if you have a short on.
I have a frustrating stock now, Longeveron. Like, it was about, how long ago? About 15 minutes ago, where I was like, yeah, you could just, and I was like, oh, I'm trading Apple, so I'm not going to trade this. Like, duh. But I was like, you could go long here, Longeveron, and then use this 12 as your out. And yeah, how's that for a ratio trade right there? Unfortunately, we didn't make it. So ifs and buts, Neil, are candies and nuts. So that's what you're looking for right there. Are we going to you over there?
Yes.
Right,
Yes,
Sean.
she is. So let's go over to Ms. V. Let's go.
Hey guys, 35 minutes left until the end of this trading day, last day of March. And I remind you to like this stream, guys. We have 3,500 people watching, only 600 likes. Each like of each of you means so much to us. So please, if you're kind of thinking to like or to not, like this video. By the way, LVGN is keep ripping. LGVN, sorry. So go LGVN on the like button, guys.
And see what I mean about LGVN? Like, it couldn't even get to 1350 there. Like, that's crazy. Like, it gives one fill, so I'm basically still holding, like, most of the position, and then there's your stop out, right? Like, you've got to be able to take it. First of all, if it's a failed break, it just went to 1410, so if it can't really hold 1,000, 2, 1,000, yeah, that might be a bit of a fail break. Can I even get back into it? And that's sort of the thing. When it breaks at 14 even, I'm going to stop out every single time. And then if it does not get through cleanly to like an obvious level, it could be 14.10, it could be 14.25, but if they immediately pull out, I shouldn't say they, if the stock immediately pulls right back below that breakout price, then you've trapped some longs on a 14 break in that situation. So I just jumped right back into it. I don't even think I didn't actually get both fills. But same plan, like 50-cent pullbacks, that's what you first think about there. And you got to have a stop out. Now, the only thing that changes in that situation is your stop moves to the high of the day. So you're risking 10 extra cents, but if it's trapped more longs, it could fall even further. So you got to think about it that way too. So Longeveron, it has been the strongest stock all afternoon, but finally looking for that 14 level to short it. I might even be all out at 13 because this stock is insane.
Yeah, I think that's a great trade. I take that short out. I take it out right now. And here we go up to the upside, downside for Longeveron. And my only trade is Apple right now, but I did want to go back in. Let's check out what's happening with NEO right now. Unfortunately, we got out of it, but there goes NEO straight to the downside right now. We kind of thought the market wasn't done moving down, and it's just funny that Apple's not absolutely cratering. We did get that great trade on Apple, but again, you know, we got to get out of it, and that's the first part, right? So if we can get out of Apple, that would be pretty nice, and we'd like to do that. But I'm trying to hold for a little lower now on AAPL, so that's going to be a name definitely that we're interested at looking at here. So that's Apple. Hopefully that comes back into the downside for us. What's been weak today was AMD. You could have shorted that same. This is kind of the same play as that Apple, man. It's like coming back in, take the short off those highs, and it's down about $1 while Apple's only down. Apple's like almost double, not almost double, but 70% higher the price, but not down as much here as AMD. And again, that goes to show, we talked about taking relative weakness and strength and whatnot. AMD today, obviously, making some moves to the downside here. So let's see where we go now with AMD. I'd like to short this one if it does get back up there, but for now, it's not doing a whole hell of a lot. Let's check out Tesla.
Oh, I mean, a couple of things.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not going to bring up Mullen. I'm just going to tell you if it breaks $3, I'm getting out of it. It's not moving, and it's certainly not going up. It might happen tomorrow. It might happen later on or next week, but not happening today. Long Chevron's what's moving. I think that's what we're going to pay attention to. Just going to trail at $3 for Mullen.
Yeah, long Chevron is the one that's moving. And again, we talked about, I can't believe I didn't have that one long down there. Okay, so Ford, first of all, Tesla right now, just because, again, another name that a lot of traders like to look at right now, Tesla trying to take out some of those bottoms. If it does, watch out for 1080. 1080 has been a pretty awesome level for longs. So if you're looking down there, you can look at 1080 for longs and or an area to possibly, if you're looking to get out of your short. And again, up to you. Neil and I just trying to give you like levels that we see and whatnot. But this 1080 has held today and has been pretty good for some of these long trades. So watch out for that. That could be a level of concern if you're concerned. I don't know. The market probably retraces back down a little bit here. Back up from this move. It's a nice move right back down into day's low again, where we've had support for the NASDAQ at this 15,000. That's what we're bouncing around right now. NASDAQ's at 14,988. So, I mean, you're bouncing around 15,000, which does make the Microsoft, the Tesla, all these stocks pretty dangerous to trade right now because it's just, you're either upside or down. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's really what we're talking about here. If that, oh, no, I don't have that again. I have to zoom back in. If that 15,000 takes and we rip up, then yeah, all of these shorts are going to get squashed. But if it bounces and we get this little move back down in and start making new lows, then yeah, the market will close on its lows and some of these like high beta names to the market will get absolutely killed, which is why I'm trying to hold on to Apple, man. And normally we like the long on this name, but I'm just thinking that the market's not going to close above the 50 period. And in that case, we're going to retest lows. And these are the names I want short. I want the high beta names. Whoa, big order on Apple. There's a 2,000 sitting here right here. So 2,000 shares times $176. That's a decent level right there. I don't know where it went. There it is. Right there. It's at 40. So there's a big size there at 40. 200,000 shares sitting there trying to buy Apple at 40. And no, that's not me.
That's crazy. I mean, and the thing about that on Apple, like you can believe orders like that sometimes when you see them. I think on a big.
Well, because it could get eaten alive in 1 second.
Absolutely eaten alive in 1 second.
It's going to get taken out.
On some stocks, it's a little bit less common to see that, and especially after a flash news. That's why I was getting crazy about.
Look at it stopping at 41 though.
JAGX just pulled back, so it broke 75. It's on the way down to 72. Will be flat when it gets down to 72. Man, I should have held on to GameStop, but when you ain't reading it, you ain't reading it, and I wasn't reading GameStop today, and it's all the way down to like almost every, it's like short at the bottom when it should have been a long, and then don't capitalize on that short.
Just come over here for a second. I just want to show everybody. I mean, Neil's 100% right.
There.
Yeah, I just want to show, like, look at this. Like Apple, when's the last time you saw Apple move in a 2-cent range? The market's tanking, but it doesn't want to go down. Look, they're buying 41s. This is like, for everybody behind us, all these new traders, you guys should open up Apple right now, and if you don't, you're fired. Because this big size right here at 40, this is what
actually you guys should look at it.
This is what you're trying to see right now. Yeah. Don't worry. They're on it. Yeah. Hopefully they do it. You'll see right here. Like look at it. It's bouncing off that 40 level, and now it just has upside. This is where you could take long. You could take 1,000 shares of Apple because you know what? Like I'm talking to these guys back there. Because if it goes up 10 10 cents. Guess what? Merry Christmas, he just made $100. But if it takes out this 40, then you can get out. See, there you go. There's $50 right there. So you could just go long now, take that trade. If it breaks 40, get out. 39, 38. I mean, good luck getting those prices, but you could try. If it cracks through 40, then you put your offer out, and maybe you get that 35, 36, something like that. So limited amount of risk. You have your out right here. Look at Apple. Look at the market. The market is at day's low right now. And Apple can't move 1 penny because there's a big buyer right here. So this is what I'm doing, man. Entertaining, educating, and bye-bye, adios amigos. There it goes all the way to the downside. And that's your trade, right? Imagine what happens there, guys. Like look, this is cash money for me. We're in the money here short. We're on now $1 in the money. But the point is, imagine the futures right there, Neil, and you know this. If those futures reverse and go to the upside, Apple just rips up there. Rip like 50 and you might also get that buyer following it up because they never got filled.
Yep.
So it's just a huge benefit. And I don't know if anyone took it behind us. I didn't because I was already in the short. But I think you could have got out there like maybe 33s, 32s, 33s there. So I think it was well worth the risk to reward, but that's just a little bit of there. If you have never seen a live level 2, that's what a live level 2 looks like. That's Apple. And we are cash money firing off the hot dogs right now because we are short 177.08 right now on Apple.
Yeah, and it's a great lesson to be learned. And actually, I was just double checking because I didn't see it. It was on EdgeX, so I have to make sure. When you have entitlements to every single book out there, sometimes it's easy to not display a certain one because it gets pretty jumbled. Our level 2s have everything on them. If it's displayed to the market, then we can take a look at it. But speaking of the market, oh wow, I'm just gonna bring over my 15-minute because we always talk about the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ's just now breaking the low. The S&P is a good 20 points below the low and filling in this gap, it looks like, down to 45.5. So, yeah, to say that it's selling off right now is a little bit of an understatement, guys. And speaking of things that are selling off or maybe were selling off or not selling off, long Jeveron. It just cannot, like it drops off 14. Like, this is the thing. If you're not taking things out 30, 40, 50 cents, if you have a short of this, it just goes right back up to the top. So there will be no adjustment of the stop order. And if we break the high of the day, I am out, and this stock is nuts. It's crazy. There it goes. Again, it just broke 14.10. Every single time it looks like it's a capitulation, it gives you a little bit. And if you don't take it, you're just losing every single time on the short trade. I'm not saying it's the same thing as DWAC, but it reminds me of that second day on DWAC when it would give you like 20 or 30 different short entries, and if you didn't scalp it, you essentially were just losing every single time. But long Jeveron for the win, I guess.
Yeah, Jeveron, great trade today. Look at NEO right now. I mean, my trade's pretty crazy here. We were short, and then it just goes do. But hey, man, I mean, I got to stick with what I do best, and that's like looking at levels and getting out. But that NEO short call out at 21.35, I mean, that's, you know, I don't have the crystal ball to predict that the market was going to go down, but, you know, that was a good call out, I feel like. And then there's the bounce at 50. If you really did want to wait for that trade, I guess you could have got shorter around 50 and then used 60 as an out. But again, you know, my logic was that NEO was down today. And as the market started to go up, we did want to take a piece out. So now that Apple's come back in, look, it's right back to where that price was at 40. We're already out. So we're out. We're already out of 20, 40, 60, 80. So we got our 20% left. I was just going to hold this. Apparently, according to Prad from Financial Juice again, and that's the only website. We're not affiliated with them at all, but you can check them out. I don't know if they're a website or not, but they're a Twitter handle, and they do report, you know, what their thinking is, and I don't know where they get it from, I guess from the floor, but what the MOC, the market on close order is. And apparently it was this is 6 minutes ago, almost $2 billion to sell. So, and what that is, again, if you're joining us for the first time, which I'm sure you're probably not, but if you are, it's an add up of all of these numbers times the stock price, and then that gives you a total number. We don't need to see ARCAs, but this is not active right now. These are all of 9:30. Something must have halted. Did MBT halt? Yeah. So MBT is not even trading right now, so that's why you get a different update time there. But this is all going to update right here. You can see SNDL had a buy imbalance there, not now, but did have one at 9:30. So these are all going to update at 350. And when that comes through, then I'll be yelling and screaming. Not really, but we'll talk about what's going to come through here. And apparently, if you add it all up, it's a sell side right now. So that's not why I'm holding on to Apple, because honestly, we're still 13 minutes away. It's just the market is coming down in. I'm not going to sell Apple until we at least break the 50 period, which happens to be at 15,000. And as you can see, man, Apple just cruising to the downside, starting to make lower highs as we go. So here comes Apple right back in. Yes, sir. Right today's low again. So we're firing off those hot dogs. Another 90 cents here for Apple as we go, man. But so far, so good here as the market's starting to turn lower.
Yeah, we're running out of time to maybe do the same trade over and over again. But as long as it keeps trying this capitulation and there are tight stops to be had, I'm going to keep going back to the well. And the key thing here is, I was saying this in the chat, like you've got to be willing to take the stop out, because eventually if it keeps doing this long Chevron, it's going to break 14. It could break 14 and head all the way up to like 15 or 14.50. So if you're not willing to have a tight stop, then that basically means you're flipping a coin and hoping that it's going to be your entire day on a flush. And it might do that. It might fall like $2 at any given time. But I'd rather sort of play a little bit tighter to the vest. Each time it's a little bit more extended. But now we got 14.20 as the high. But it keeps doing that failed break. And if it works, great. But I'm still going to scalp out down to that 13.50 area, because that is what has been more successful, has been essentially taking like the smaller win on the way back to the downside. That JAG-X almost all out of it. It's very close to that 72 mark. And the market just made a bit of a bounce. If you're watching GameStop, AMC, they both are making a small charge back into the upside. I don't think it's anything worth looking at too much. I was watching Tesla. I thought that could have been the one if the market had gone back into the green territory, but it looks like we're headed back down to 1080. 1080 is still a pretty big level. With the market testing lows, breaking lows, the fact that Tesla wants to hold that 1080, pretty good sign. It means we have a good level for tomorrow to trade off of. Well, if it doesn't break anyways.
So all of our trades are at the bottom there, right? And someone said that my long failed on Apple. I don't know. Right now I'm short Apple, so that's not failing. And longs have failed before, but just not this time. So if you do see our positions at the bottom there, I'm Sean and this is Neil. So we'll see. That's, hopefully you don't get that confused a little bit. And again, there it is. I went, here you go, B, Sean, here you go. He went long Apple because he thought the price was spoofing. Nope, didn't be again, but that's fine. Thanks for bringing that up, but no, did not. What I was trying to do is show you guys, and I didn't think they were spoofing at all. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to ban anybody because there's obviously a misunderstanding here. But no, I was showing you that and saying that it's not spoofing because there's no way in hell someone would sit there on Apple 1 penny below with an order that can easily get taken out. And remember, every single time Apple gets traded, man, I mean, there's ETFs. Apple has no problem doing volume. 60 million shares. That was 200,000 shares. So I don't know what's going on with that, but anytime you see, and again, I'm not going to ban anybody for that. I mean, it's foolish, and I think they're probably just trying to get me to talk about them, and I did, so you win. But I just for everybody, the purples are shorts. That's it. The greens are buys. So whether or not we're buying into a long or into a short, covering the short, you just have to look up top there to see what's going on with our positions. But thank you to B for being a watcher. That's for sure. All right, what's going on now, Brendo?
I saw this halt guys pop up and kind of shrugged it off because there's no volume behind it, but SQL just reopened and it seems like there is a bit of volume coming into it. So heads up, little healthcare equipment maker just popping up and halted. Again, it resumed at 150 there, but we'll see what happens.
Hold on a second. I see what B is saying.
Multiple halt?
I was talking about the strategy there of going long in front of that 40. So yeah, I was saying that you could go long in front of that 40 and then get it out for 7, 8 pennies, something like that, and then make sure you get out on the out. So B, I apologize if you lost 7 cents, my bad on that one. So, but I'm in an 87-cent winner, so we'll move on that. But okay, so you're 100% right on that. And again, that's part of being honest. And I'm gonna, if that's what you meant, then yeah, you're right. That is what I said. So, but let's just move on that one. What were you looking at there?
So I was looking at SQL. Like on my chart, I'm like, oh, did it halt more than once? No, it was just the one halt. It's not. It's got decent enough volume, relative volume, but it is a little bit light, and it is a lot later than I thought. Now 342, and look, we have to be flat, no positions at the end of the day, so it's unlikely I will trade anything. This Mullen is not going to move, man. I'm just going to get out right here. It's not going anywhere, and it's a distraction almost. So Longeveron, I think this is sort of the battle. It's done this now 3 times. Maybe technically 4 times. I guess I've only really been involved 3 times at $14. At some point, like at the end of the day, it's pretty binary, right? Like I would bet you just about anything that I don't think we're closing between 13.50 and 14. But I don't feel it makes a heck of a lot of sense to just wager everything in one direction or the other. Your stop's still on the other side. And if it falls from here, I think you can get to 12.50. It is worth holding on to because I have a stop at the high of the day. And the imbalances don't matter to Longeveron. It's not going to have an imbalance. I'd be very shocked if it did. So we can hold this one and not worry about 350. But the stop has to be at that high of the day. I'm all out of JAGX, by the way. I'm not really pulling it up here because like sort of once that already happens, like it goes down in close to VWAP. And then it bases out. It should be on the radar for tomorrow because it put in some volume. And it's not a day 1 break, but it's a lower high consolidation break at 65 above the 50 period, room to $1, right? So as long as it holds above that 65 today, then it is worth watching tomorrow for a bit of a long in the morning. Got to hold that level first. When you catch it late, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not chasing the top. I'm going to short the top. That's usually the way to go when you're day trading.
All right, so here we go. What's up, Dinesh, my main man over there? Yeah, here we go to the downside right now. We're just holding on to Apple. Like, honestly, if I go short something else and then the thing pops against me, I don't want to lose on that name because we are holding the short on Apple. So I'm not going to go long anything. Here goes Apple right now. And dare I say, maybe you want to go long in front of 176 here, but I don't want to say that because here comes 176. And there's not as many shares there. It goes right through there. I was going to say there was as many shares there. There's like 50,000 or something protecting that 176. So that just gets eaten up like absolutely no problem. As now, what is this doing? This is my NASDAQ, right? So, yeah, that's why, because I pulled this down a little bit. There we go. I'll put that up right now. There goes 176 downside. We shorted Apple, man. We smelt the weakness in the market, and I went at Apple. And again, we could have gone at anything there. AMD might have been a good one to go at, but look at AMD right now. Actually, coming back up a little bit. Apple's at day's low. Maybe we got the right name for once here. As AMD actually, Neil, we're traced all the way back up. I don't know what Nvidia's doing right now, but the semis, okay, that's down low. Wow, that's kind of funny. I thought AMD for sure on the market on the day's low, which we called.
Micron's not.
AMD bouncing, but Nvidia is the one name. And look, here's a couple shorts on Nvidia as well. Again, if you see any purples, those are shorts. And there it is, a nice little rip up to 280. Wow, that 280 held nicely there on Nvidia to the short side as well. So we'll have a look at that tomorrow. Nothing really in here for 280, but we did go long 280 a couple times right here earlier before losing on that long and then getting out. So there you go. Again, trying to be honest about those trades, but there's the loss right there. Okay, the market could bounce back up, and if it does, there's only a few minutes left until this imbalance. So I don't know. For right now, I'd rather just hold on to see what the imbalance does to Apple because Apple right now just took 176 again to the upside right now. So I don't know, man. That flush pretty good. Actually only went down to 95, so let's not get too worried about it. But there's the possible out that I'm looking at, 176.50. I think we take that out in case the imbalances come buy side. I don't know. Will they come buy side? I'm going to, you know what, forget about it. We're $1 in the money. We only have 20% left. I'm going to just avoid these imbalances completely.
Just trail it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't want to because you know what? They could flip at 55 again. Yeah, but anyways, trailing stop is another great idea. So I just don't know. Like if I put a 50-cent trail, I almost would have got stopped right there. Okay, so let's wait to see what happens. We do have a bar-coded area here of 176.30, so attention to everybody out there. I'm not going to do it, but if you thought that the market could rally, this is not a horrible spot to get out. 176.35, take your 80 cents and run, but I'm going to hold for lower lows.
Yeah, the other day when there was indicated big imbalance one way, sometimes they come out the other, especially when you've already sold off really big, right? Like, you know, sometimes a lot of that selling's already taken place, and there's no need for some of those orders to go into the auction. The battle's still ongoing in Longeveron. It came down to 13.50 to get the last bet I had that's not in front of 13, but you're just going to be adjusting the stop on it. it's really about the strength in the market, the weakness in the market. But I was looking over at some of the names that were flushing this morning. Square was so weak. Remember how weak that was in the morning? It actually is holding this 135. And hey, just sort of look at this 135 back on the Monday as well. It ran away and flushed on Friday from this price. So I'm kind of at that point where only trading long Chevron, but starting to file away some interesting price levels. With the market dying into the close, you're finding support on block at 135. And I know there was a nice bounce off that 137, 138 level. That was important this morning because that's where we were trying to take out those 139, 140 shorts. And yeah, Longeveron, if you're a bull in this bad boy, it's doing that thing again. It's trying to test that high. This is another time. Every time it goes down 30 to 40 cents, there are buyers galore on this thing. The algos are loving it. I mean, the fees that are churning through here are amazing. 130 million shares. But now my stop is through the high of the day. If it breaks out, then I'm just going to leave it alone. It's too late in the day for a long break unless you can hold into the aftermarket, because some of your upside in the trade is in the aftermarket.
This is absolutely wild right now. Look, we went short on the futures right here. And again, we're just going to wait to see what happens. Looking at that imbalance number here, unfortunately, there's only 2 minutes left. I see this level right here at 365 and think like I'm going to have to get out. But I feel like it could, I just don't want to hold past. Like if these imbalances come out huge, but look how fast the Qs move, first of all. So right now our average price is 50. I mean, we can get out for flat if we wanted to, but we're not. So we're going to wait here. We will take a 50-cent hit, which just might not be enough. I really hope I can hold out for this one until, like if I get stopped out, which I might before this imbalance comes out, then it's just bad for me by positioning overall. I should have just waited to get in a little closer to the number as it's just bouncing around right now. So we're going to watch out for that. We are short the Qs, the NASDAQ. You got to show the screen here, Fod, if you can. Right here, 365 is where we're going to get out. So if we get out of the Qs, it'll be right here. We are now short the NASDAQ into this number. No real expectations on this, but if we're going to take a 50-cent hit, then let's put a bid down here near 364 flat to make 50 cents on some of it. So here we go. Hopefully we can withstand this. There's only a little bit more time left here before this market either blows. Well, it's going to blow one way or the other here, as now it's starting to come back down a little bit here. So let's see if it starts to fade out now. We are short the market. Let's see what's happening right now as we're starting to come back in right here.
Yeah, craziness. The bounces are coming just about any second now. When they do, we'll get them to you. Got to watch Apple because of that big buyer. ISPC was a late mover Brendan just brought to us, but it's already starting to fade in. The story is in 15 seconds when these imbalances come out. That's to be sure. And watch out for Apple, I think.
Yeah, watch out for Apple right here. And here come the imbalances right now. So we're short the Qs. Let's see if we can't cash out a little bit of these trades as they're coming out in 5 seconds. We'll show you the Qs right here. Your boy is short. We're already in the money now. Apple's in the money. Bang right there. Yeah, let's go, baby. Everyone's getting lifted behind us there. Knock on wood. It's a nice little short to the downside right there as we cash out. I hear Trader Prad stacks, making those stacks right now. People clapping behind us. Let's go as this market. See ya later, Mr. Alligator.
5 million to sell on Apple. 5
Bang right now, an Apple right there. Let's go. Let's fire off the hot dogs right there. Apple with $1.50 in the money. We're getting elevated. How you like that, traders? It's your first week on the floor, and you're already seeing that popcorn pop off.
Yeah, that's insane imbalances coming through, guys. 5 million on Apple, 2 million on Microsoft, 3 million on BAC, all to the sell side. And Nvidia, for good measure, is 1.2 million shares to that sell side. You can see pretty much all across the board, they all dumped. This time, there was no fake out. It was just straight droppage.
Yeah, right now, I mean, there's big time moves happening. We got out of our Apple. That was just a huge move. We're done. We're going to cancel all of these imbalance orders and everything like that and get out of here because that's that. A big time win for us there. Apple just collapsing down to the downside with some big imbalances happening right here. So again, it is the end of the month. So, no surprise there on some of those moves. And then there's the Qs, man. Not only that, did we crush the market? Yes, we did. There goes the NASDAQ to the downside. So, not only are we trading equities, but there it is right there, the People's Trader on the market for you, as well as this is starting to go to the downside. Will things pair off? Probably. So we're going to get out again. If this goes right back up to 364, let's just get it out for 364 flat and then finish our day off. What a great way to end the show.
Yeah, and I'm gonna, with only about 3 minutes, well, only about 3 minutes until that 3:55, where a lot of times you get those updates. I'm not gonna be changing the stop on long Chevron. I'm just gonna be getting out of it. There's nothing left to do with this, but there are, now that you see that big of a move in the market, you want to look for any snapback opportunities where you can quickly get in and out of something, or where an imbalance at 55 might stay or get larger. Like, that's the kind of thing I'm looking for. Nvidia, rather large. Of course, Apple's the one with that 3.5. And I'm just looking down the list to see if there's anything else significant. But it is Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple. Those are the three big ones. Home Depot was oddly enough a buy. It was the only significant buy that I saw. And come on, load up. And it didn't even budge to the upside. If anything, it went down, despite being the only buy imbalance. So the weakness into the close, it's not, no one likes it when the market goes down. No. But at the end of the day,
unless you're short,
there's trading opportunities out there,
That's
right?
it.
So like when you're day trading, you don't really care what direction it goes. You can tell that when we trade.
Yeah, and we're out now, so that's it. Finish it off, man. Our best out was 363.80 on the Qs off of these shorts. A big trade right there for me to come in there, and then there it is. Thank you so much, Garrett, as well. Shout out to you, Garrett, for that. Thanks for the $2 there, man. Whatever, but still, any super chat is welcome. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for all the support on Prad's show. I know he had the short there as well in the market. So great opportunity there as oil, obviously taking out a Hyundai as well to the downside. So lots happening, including this oil trade. So yeah, big day, big close, and I hope everyone made a little bit of money on that. Unfortunately, we got out of our Qs there when it broke up. It's now still going down to low lows. Apple as well, we destroyed Apple. We got out of Apple at a good price, man, 65, well, right here. So that was a pretty good price. It's bounced around a little bit here, but yeah, the market is starting to come back in with, I mean, I can keep these imbalances up. I don't think I'll be in anything else, but there's Apple, still some nice little sells here. Oh, Home Depot is a nice buy, so there's that as well.
Yeah, it was really just Home Depot. And like I said, long Chevron, there's no need to be in it. Like, it's going to close at the high of the day. Well, at least right now, it looks like it's going to close at the high today. That's pretty much all I should say, because anything can happen in the next 5 minutes or so, and I would not be surprised if this moved $1 in either direction. The fact that it's still here is a little bit surprising, but man, oh man, like the futures, they're still churning to the downside. We're going to hit that 1% mark any second now, and there's almost nothing that's going to be immune to it. Like, as I said, even the buy imbalances are falling, and that's never a good sign. It's a pretty big sign of weakness, actually. So not a lot of strength in the market here today, unless you're watching one of these high-flying runners, which is all about it. And by the way, Mullen cracked that $3 as well, so that's also heading to the downside. Crazy, crazy price action. I mean, you don't see too many closes like that, but remember, it is the end of the month, not just the end of the month, it's the end of the first quarter today. A lot of times you get some extra volatility, especially in the final 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, Apple and the market. I guess we got out a little too early. Wow, look at the NASDAQ, guys. They are really feeling this number to the downside as it just keeps on going, man. Exploding downside right now goes everything, man. The NASDAQ downside, Apple, like I got out at $1 ago, man, as this just keeps on tank city right now into that. Like, just what a horrible, horrible day to be long anything right now as we continue to go. Let's check out the triple Qs. Let me just click on that to see how bad an out my out was right there. Now $1, we're better now for us into the money as these imbalances really aren't pairing off too good, guys. So watch out here. To the downside goes some of these names. It doesn't look like there's too much love here for Apple, BACs. Apple's still there at 3 million, guys. Wow, it's 356. Like, Apple could print a hell of a lot lower. I might just go on Apple right now.
Usually you'll see something like that.
It just bounced up.
You'll see it pair off.
Yeah.
The fact that it's still 3 million, it's pretty rare. If it's still there in 2 minutes at 58 and it's still over 3 million shares, that would be surprising. You don't see that very often, and that's what we're staring at. And it's across the board, man. I'm looking at the banks falling down. Like, I'm not seeing any strength anywhere. Jokes, just for a bit of a joke, UiPath is the buy imbalance of all things.
UiPath is a buy imbalance?
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
like,
what a joke that is.
The last thing I would have expected, but whatever.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a big buy imbalance right there. As you're going, man, we're just going to have to wait to see what exactly is popping off here for a lot of these names, man. The market continues to make moves to the downside. And, yeah, as per per usual. We're just going to watch this. It's 3:56. Tomorrow's April Fool's. So you might think these are a joke, but they are not.
Nope.
This is what's happening right now. Big time movement for the market and just some downside protection there. I hope you guys made some money today. The trading was very, very good, right? And it's just a matter of, being comfortable with your own book and making sure that you don't have to follow every single trade we're making, but that's why we're here. We're trying to give you reasons why we're in, reasons why we're out. And I said that we were going to hold that Apple trade, and man, did we ever. That was a good one. 177 there in, 177.10, out, as we bounce around that 175.60 mark. So looks like it was going to be a good trade for us, and there it is as well. Apple, nice little downside move here. The market is really failing, but it's going to close at the bottom at the lows, and normally I care about that stuff, but today it's a rebalance day, so I don't really think that, well, it's the end of the month and a little bit of rebalancing, so I don't really figure that it means anything for tomorrow's trade. If anything, I like to swing longs off some of these bottoms because they're falsified bottoms.
Speaking of the bottom, this is a great name. Monkey D. Luffy is Joy Boy. Anyways, that's kind of crazy name, but you point out something that I should have gone back to, which is as the market is falling, what was the one thing that we pointed out that couldn't get through support? Block. It did not break the low of the day. I mean, everything else that I'm looking at broke the low of the day and followed through. This is down 3% after getting absolutely crushed the last 2 days, and it can't get through that 135 support. So I've drawn my little line on my chart. The second the market's closed, I mean, I already wrote it on the iPad, but the second the market's closed, I'm going to set an alert for that 135 level. I want to see it hold this. That's the kind of thing where if we get a rebound day and you can play off of a level like that, there are buyers on block at 135. Is it enough that it's an automatic win at that level? Nah, probably not. But it's worth trading it, and it's certainly worth trading it in either direction because I'd anticipate we run away from that level in either direction tomorrow. There's almost no chance that that's not going to be significant. Is it guaranteed to be there when I sit down in the morning? No, but you better believe I'll be looking at it after seeing this.
Yeah, with only a minute left to go right now. Yeah, what's up, the Playmaker? What's up, Playmaker? As he's sitting there on our chat as well. There goes Apple down to 175. It still hasn't even paired off. So there is an opportunity there if you want it to trade some Apple, not pairing off quite yet right there. But that's it. Yeah, again, I hope you guys had a great show. What's up to Alex Enzo? I always see you on the chat there as well. It's a little hard to follow the chat in these last 10 or 15 minutes, but as you go, still some nice moves today happening as the market trying to get back upside right here, as Apple's starting to get paired off, as you can see right there on the screen. But hey, man, it should be a decent little close for most of you. So I hope that you did have a good time. And again, thank you for watching. We're back tomorrow. Obviously.
You better believe it. Well, I don't know if Tony will be back. It is Miss V only on the bell. Get better, Tony. But it's going to be a good one, although the green did not work today, as you can probably tell. But either way, it doesn't matter. It's definitely been a blast. And this close only getting crazier as Apple continues to fall down. Going to drop that countdown in. Should have, yeah, it never paired off. But 10 seconds now left. Countdown is on. Ms. V in 5, 4, 3, 2, and a little early, 1. Wow.
And there it is, man. There it is. A nice little move downside there. Apple with a print. It just printed. I don't know if I can find it for you, but that print was, what, 17 or I don't know how many million shares that was. It might have not even printed yet, actually, at that very bottom. But what a good job. Thank you so much, Ms. V, for that one. Big successful day. Super happy with everything. Brendan, let's go ahead and wrap this one up a little bit quick here. How did we finish today? It looks like the NASDAQ bounced a little bit at the end. Yeah,
a little bit, but yeah, pretty ugly there. That's one of the biggest numbers I've seen in a long time to the downside. Here we go. S&P 1.43 at the end of the day there. Full percent for the Dow, the NASDAQ 1.2. Look at crude oil there, 6.5% at the end of the trading session for crude oil, 3.5% for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. What a move that was to the downside.
What a move is right.
Yeah, great move on Apple.
Wow.
Great move on Apple. And we were just saying that, you know, this is a little bit of an advanced strategy here, but you can do it if you want to do that. And that is like if you see these big sell-offs happen, and especially if you get an opportunity to find, you know, like maybe you want to pick up Apple a little bit lower. And then I talked about this earlier, swinging it possibly into the next day. You know, you do get an opportunity on these imbalance days to pick a stock up that's been falsified kind of one way or the other. And I think Apple, a lot of that drop, not just in the NASDAQ, but in Apple as well, was due to that big imbalance. So I would expect Apple, I mean, barring the market, I mean, you're always battling the market. Apple's not a great name for this example, but, you know, barring, you know, a move like that, you can pick something up a little cheaper than maybe you would have otherwise. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. Great point.
Yeah, so, okay, thank you so much today. Fahad, thank you so much for the ones and twos. I think he was pretty much doing the whole show by himself there, so thank you so much, Fahad. Thank you to Lucas for sure. Thank you to Ms. V. Trader Pratt, I heard he must have had the short in that market as well, so thanks to Trader Pratt as well. Looks kind of happy there. I don't know.
It couldn't have been long.
We'll talk to him after how that worked out. And a shout out to all the traders behind us. I think they're enjoying themselves. I don't know, Neil, it was a great show. I can't believe we talk like this for as many hours as we do, but that's why we have the water here. And guess what? Tomorrow's April Fool's, so we won't have a show, unfortunately. We're taking tomorrow off. Yeah, no, we're back here tomorrow, obviously, at 8:30. So join us. Neil's going to discuss Mullen as his trade of the day. That's coming up next. So everyone, take care. Don't be fooled tomorrow when you wake up. Someone might prank you, and it may or may not be us. Catch us tomorrow at 8:30. We'll see you then. Ciao, guys.
Bye, guys.